be going live in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. As you see, the live is aptly titled, Will America Defend Trump? Fact is, many believe that what Trump is dealing with is indeed a witch hunt. It is indeed political, with the goal being to prevent the former commander-in-chief from ever having the role again. So with so many folks suggesting that what Trump is dealing with is a witch hunt, we know Trump being found guilty 34 charges in New York. President Trump himself has had to weigh in on this, because folks are suggesting when Trump is sentenced on July 11th, it's possible he might not get a pass. He might either get a little bit of jail time or potentially house arrest, or who knows, even a few months at Rikers if you ask a few of his detractors. Listen, fact is, I personally, yours truly, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll talk about it. We'll certainly cover it. But I want to give you a quote from the former president himself. Now, he was asked about the potential of him being sentenced to jail time, and he said, you know, he's okay with it. Oddly enough, President Trump, a well-known germaphobe, certainly likes clean environments. When he was in court last week before being found guilty, there are reports from the reporters that he wouldn't even use the public bathrooms in court, stating that they weren't clean. So if he doesn't want to use the public bathrooms in a courthouse, you can only imagine what they're like in jail. So the idea that Trump is okay with going to jail sounds like a bunch of bullshit. But he did say he's okay with being sentenced to jail. So we'll leave it at that. But in regards to whether Trump would receive jail time or be placed on house arrest, here is his own quote in response to that. I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at some point, there's a breaking point. So he said, you know, at a certain point, there is a breaking point. So when he says that if he is sentenced to house arrest, the public may not take it, I want to get your take on what does that mean? How would that look if President Trump was sentenced to house arrest and the public, quote unquote, did not take it? What does he mean by that? So that will be our first topic, trying to decipher President Trump's words. You know the program is MAGA friendly. Always has been, always will be. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with anyone in the comment section. You don't have to agree with the host. If you have a different opinion, nobody gives a damn. We do believe in free speech here. We go left of Bernie Sanders, Trump having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak. So what does Trump mean that if he gets house arrest, that the public won't stand for it, and that we may reach a breaking point? And by the way, the second topic is, we know Hunter Biden is about to begin his own personal trial. I want to ask you folks, does that matter to you? Do you think it potentially, as Trump would say, is the case against Hunter Biden, is that indeed a witch hunt or a politicized case as well? So there you go. That is our topics for today. So looking in the comments, Trump is an OG. He could have 30 felonies and I'm still going to vote. That's our OG people, regardless. Everyone loves their peace, says Al Capone. All right, Trump is an OG, an original gangster. Really? Will Trump defend America? That's all he has ever thought about. He's America first, says V-Pyre. Well, that's what we're asking. Will America defend Trump, though? Trump is facing potential house arrest if he gets sentenced. Will America rise up? As Trump said, the public wouldn't stand for it. Going straight to the box, or he questioned. He didn't say it definitively. He said, I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at a certain point, there's a breaking point. We'll go straight to Moo, the tuxedo cat. Good afternoon, Moo. If the box is already having some trouble, let me see if Moo's going to come up. Guilty says, what does that say? Dat something. Well, we know he's been found guilty on 34 counts. We do get that. Trump needs to stay out of politics. There's a lot of folks that want Trump in politics. A lot of folks believe Trump is the best guy for running this country, knows what he's doing, so he's not going to stay out of politics. Trump can't win without the independent voters. Fair enough, but can Biden win without the independent voters? That's not unique to Trump. Biden needs those folks too. Trump on TikTok. Yeah, and he's doing very well, but you see a lot of right-wing outlets like Fox and things like that. Well, Trump's back on TikTok and he has millions of viewers, billions of followers. Well, he's a presidential contender. Of course he's going to have millions of followers. That's not exactly something unusual. The idea that he got millions of followers, okay, hey, more power to him, but that's not like that's a shock. I don't know what happened with my last guest, Moo, but we'll try it on Jizzle on my Tizzle. Love the name. Let's see if we can bring up Jizzle. Good afternoon, Jizzle.
THL, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? Trump stating that if he is placed on house arrest, there might be a breaking point in the public. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's really no way you can like spin this, because the average person isn't really gonna look into actually what happened. They're seeing that the former president is getting charges. It's kind of fishy, and
wait. If the average person isn't looking into it like you just stated, why would they come up to the conclusion that it's kind of fishy? If you're not looking into it, how do you know it's not legitimate?
Because that's the message that's being sent out about this. That it's, I mean, one side's kind of saying that it's not, one side kind of saying it is. It depends where you're getting your media from. Most of the country leans conservative. So I think that messaging is going to come across as, most people are going to see it as kind of fishy.
Well, most people believe that Joe Biden is not president legitimately. I mean, sometimes things come out that may or may not be true.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the truth really is. And as bad as that sounds, you and I both know that's the truth. Think of the stupidest person you know. Half the people in this country are stupider than that. And all those people can vote.
Yeah,
it's the truth. It's it's the truth.
So then let's decipher what President Trump means when he says, I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take, at a certain point, there's a breaking point. What does he mean by the phrase breaking point? If the public decided not to take him being placed on house arrest, what does that mean?
I think the breaking point is referring to the fact that, you've never seen like, prospectively what's happened here is, in the eyes of these voters, is the president is going after his to-be opponent. He's prosecuting his to-be opponent, and that's the type of shit that happens in like banana republics.
Yeah, but if you want to go with that,
that's the reason that Trump is saying that that's not something that the public would stand for.
But here's what I don't get. If we want to suggest that, trying to lock up your opponent is what happens in banana republics, why wasn't there such an outcry when Trump was threatening to lock up Hillary Clinton? He was threatening to lock up his opposition, his opponent, in the same way. And folks on the right, many complaining now that it's wrong, were totally in favor of it.
When he actually got into office, he actually didn't, because he said it's the right thing to do would just be to move on.
Yeah, but MAGA didn't know that.
Then we move on.
Yeah, but MAGA did not know he was going to do that when he got in office. They thought when he was at those rallies stating that she needs to be in prison, he was going to do it. And they didn't have any problem with it.
Right.
So it's okay
personally, I feel like the charges that were Hillary Clinton was, I don't know if she didn't ever go to court.
No,
or she did. It was in and out pretty quickly. It was pretty. I don't know if she ever saw a full trial over. I don't remember.
Never. She testified before Congress for 11 hours, and that was it. never was found guilty, never was in front of a jury or anything, yet MAGA was totally okay with locking her up without any due process.
I think the things that Hillary was accused of were a lot worse than the things that Trump were accused of.
So is it safe to assume that MAGA's okay with locking you up without due process if you're accused of bad crimes?
Where's the without due process coming from?
Well, due process means you have to be found guilty in a court of law. You can't just go around yelling, lock somebody up before anybody's ever deemed them guilty of a crime.
True. I think that like there's a belief amongst MAGA and amongst like a lot of people that the system is corrupt and there are people who are kind of immune to the system. Which is, it's not completely false. I think a lot of people would agree with that. There are some people whose influence causes them to kind of be above the law, even though they shouldn't be.
Right, and I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all, but I would say Trump is in that category because he's got 10 contempt. He was found guilty of contempt in court for you and I wouldn't get away with that, right?
Right, absolutely.
So he's also
Trump would definitely be because he has money.
Right.
That's the reality of it.
Okay. So, but at the end of the day, when it comes to threatening to lock up your opponent, was what Trump doing was that wrong for him to be suggesting he was going to lock his opponent up, even though she had not been found guilty in court of anything?
It's kind of ambiguous. I'm not really sure. To be honest, I'm not really sure because the things that Hillary was being accused of were a lot worse than what Trump was accused of. I don't really think you can compare them, but I just think they're different,
Yeah. Well, we haven't got to the documents case and all this other stuff yet. So right now, the case, many would suggest that the case Trump has been found guilty for is the weakest case. So when you say Hillary Clinton stuff was worse, we don't know what's going to come out on like January 6th, for instance. If you support Trump, you think charging Trump is all bullshit. But we don't know what's going to come out in court. If it turns out that Trump's administration, at the behest of Trump, was working directly with those protesters, isn't that equal to what Hillary Clinton's been charged with?
That's a good question.
And we don't know until it goes to court.
Right? Yeah. I guess you really don't know. But I think there's a general consensus, and Trump ran on this, that the system by and large is corrupt and it's broken.
But then you later admitted that Trump, because he has wealth, benefits from that corrupt, broken system after he was in control of that system for 4 years.
Yeah. Do you remember what this was a famous? I think Dave Chappelle. This was a famous quote. He got up on stage and said this. He said, "The system is broken, and I know because I use it." He was speaking in reference to the tax system, but he was saying that that is generally true. Like that's a blanket statement that he was making there.
And do you think that if Trump is put back in office, that will no longer be once he serves? That after 4 years of Trump, wealthy will not benefit from the system?
It's going to take a lot more.
Right.
It's going to take a lot more than one president. It's one president, one administration cannot possibly undo like the all of this bad shit that's like led to what we have now. It's just not possible.
So what was
maybe two, maybe three.
So what was the goal of Trump? To just tell us about it, something we already knew anyway?
To get the ball rolling. The goal of Trump was to get the ball rolling, and it's debatable whether or not he did get the ball rolling. There's some things that he did that did kind of get like the sex trafficking. He really cracked down on the sex trafficking. A lot of people would say that that's kind of like proof that he did kind of get that ball rolling.
But when we talk about a corrupt system, we're not talking about sex trafficking. I mean, the average American who is victimized by a corrupt system has nothing to do with sex trafficking. As you pointed out, rich people get treated better than poor people. That ain't got nothing to do with sex trafficking. I mean, that's like minuscule in terms of fixing the system.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of many issues. I think. I mean, you're older than me. Like, when do you feel like the system kind of began to break down? In your opinion, I'm 23 years old. So
When do I think the system began to break down?
Yeah.
Maybe around the 1776, somewhere around there.
All right. So do you think like the whole concept of America is just like?
Well, think about it. It's founded on you can vote if you are a white man that owns property. Everybody else, even white men that did not own property, couldn't vote. So it was founded that way. We wouldn't even talk about slavery and women's oppression and all that other shit. I would submit to you that the system is better right now in 2024 than it's ever been in history, because more and more people are getting a place at the table. But the system started out corrupt as hell. It's actually gotten better.
I don't know, because there was a time before major corporations could just like bribe their way into getting what they wanted. There was a time that wasn't 1776 before that was like a thing that's like kind of fucking with our system.
Well, you do understand, for most of America's history, they could have children working. You didn't get overtime even if you worked it. You didn't get workers' comp. So when you say that corporations, there was a time when corporations didn't have a stake. I'd like to know when you're going back to. They used to have monopolies, all of that. It was way worse than it is now. Jizzle, did I lose you? All right, maybe you got a phone call. So we'll move it on. Always a pleasure. Jizzle, you're welcome back anytime. I don't know if you had a phone call, whatever the case may be, but moving the program on, we're asking that question. President Trump stated that if he is placed on house arrest, which he stated, if I go to jail, I'm okay with it. But he also said if he is placed on house arrest, his quote, I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at a certain point, there's a breaking point. Trying to figure out, what does he mean by a breaking point? How does that relate to the average American? What would you see to feel, yeah, there must be a breaking point on what's happening to President Trump? That's the American education system for you. Oh my God. Blue is a man with facts. Let me go back to the box. You guys are harsh. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to 25,000. Nearly 800 of you here. You could be anywhere you want to be this Monday afternoon. Always a pleasure having you here with me. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 20. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button, the three dots in the top of your screen. Get me on up to 20. This is an uncensored broadcast. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the host or anybody else on the damn program. It's about free speech. Let's try it again with Moo, friend of the program. Good afternoon, Moo.
What's up, man? What's going on?
Not much. A breaking point in this country if President Trump is placed on house arrest. What say you?
I say it's all bullshit, man. They wouldn't even show up to his trial. These are the same morons who try to throw over a government without bringing firearms with them, and then they have to have old dick pics tell them how to do it right?
Wait.
Has to tell you guys
Old dick pics?
because you're too stupid to do it, right?
What do you mean by old dick pics?
Marjorie Taylor Greene is old dick pics, dude. Instead of legislating, she goes into Congress, and because she's obsessed with Hunter Biden's hog, she shows off his dick all over Congress all the time. This is what they do instead of legislating, right? And then they want to act like, oh, make America great again with dick pics. Yeah. Dumbasses.
So what does he mean by a breaking point, though?
They're going to pretend to start a civil war, but really it's just going to be small amounts of them here and there that get themselves arrested. And then Trump will go on TV and say, oh, they're heroes. And when I get back into office, I'm going to pardon all the heroes. Bigly. I'm going to bigly pardon them. Dumbass.
Well, what about the idea that some folks do believe he's being railroaded, do believe that these charges are bullshit, and that maybe we need to rethink the process of our justice system?
Well, what I would say is it doesn't matter what you believe, right? There's reality, and then there's what you believe. Because MAGA come on here all the time. I feel, I think, I believe. It doesn't matter. None of that shit matters, right? Because they have to be deep in their feelings. Because they don't have anything else. There is no breaking point. There's I'll even give you the whole 70 million voters, right? Not that there would be that many of you that act up. Let's say 70 million of you did. Well, there's 300 million Americans against you, right? Because there's only 70 million of you, and that's granting you a lot, right? You're not going to win a civil war. You're not going to act up. All that's going to happen is your dumbasses are going to get thrown in jail, just like what happened on January 6th. That's it.
Wow.
There is no breaking point.
So you believe that Trump could be locked up and it pretty much would fizzle out to nothing?
He has a chance of going to jail, but nothing's going to happen if he does. You know, they'll get on TV and cry, oh, he's going through all these things for the country, and I'm just a cuck for a rich orange guy, and I don't know how to actually make America better because I don't know anything about... You know, they come on here and they say, well, I never voted before Trump, and I don't actually know anything about politics. They literally come on your show and say that, and then they're like, I'm going to make America great again. And then you're like, oh, yeah, well, how? I don't know. Oh, go Trump. Go Trump.
Well, let me ask you this though. For all of the way you're speaking of MAGA, even you would have to admit there's a hell of a lot more adoration for Trump than there is for Biden. The liberals are not.
It's not adoration for Trump. No, there's not adoration for Trump, right? They would abandon Trump if Trump tomorrow said, hey, listen, I'm going to advocate for LGBTQ rights. I'm going to advocate for Medicare for all. I'm going to advocate for equal rights for black people. They would abandon him so fast. It has actually nothing to do with Trump as a person. It's the things that he spews, right? They're tainting the blood of our country, all that Hitler rhetoric he speaks, all the anti-black rhetoric he speaks, like, it's so bright in here, I can only see the black ones, but I'm not a racist, but I can only see the black ones.
I have to push back when you say that it's not Trump that they adore, it's the rhetoric. He did speak favorably of getting vaccinated. He also has denounced white supremacy. So clearly they still like him no matter what.
That's small potatoes, my dude. If he starts talking about immigrants deserve to have citizenship and they should start paying taxes and we should make them productive members of society, they would leave his side so fast, my dude. It's not even funny. The things you're referring to are really just small potatoes out of all of it, to be honest with you.
So you're saying that they don't like Trump, they like the rhetoric. So you're telling me...
Yeah.
So what message are they...
They say it all the time. They come onto your show and say, well, you know, I don't like his policies, but I like what he says. He's a straight shooter. Even though he's one of the biggest fucking liars of all time, and he's a lobbyist, I love him. I hate corporations, but I'm gonna love one of the biggest corporate stooges in all of America. Go make America great. Make America great.
Well, you really think he's that bad, man?
He is a lobbyist, my dude. He is the one. So all you guys did was cut out the middleman, right? You cut out the politician, right? You went straight to the lobbyist who's bribing the politicians and put him in office instead. So what you guys did was you didn't cut out the corruption. You just cut out the middleman and went straight to the source of the corruption, right? You picked a lobbyist. You made a lobbyist the president. That's what y'all did.
Well, I had a guest on my program, I think it was last night, that said under Biden she feels scared to live in this country. I want you to hear this, because this is coming from...
MAGA? Is she MAGA?
Yeah, she's MAGA.
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Just like Trump said, get the fuck out of the country. If you don't like this country and you want to always complain, get the fuck out. That's what Trump said. Leave.
So you're suggesting that if MAGA is unhappy with what's going on in America, they should leave America.
Take the advice of what your Fuhrer said and get the fuck out of the country. This country doesn't belong to you guys anyway, right? You're the Confederates that lost. You're a bunch of losers. You're secondhand citizens, right? You're the scum of this country. Get out. Leave. No one's gonna miss y'all. All 70 million of you. March over to fucking Gaza and go into the desert instead of the Palestinians.
Speaking of...
Send MAGA into the desert.
Jesus, you're harsh, Mo. You're really hard today. Speaking of Gaza... Exposing Zionist crimes on YouTube says Trump will free Palestine. Trump will have a ceasefire. Would the Palestinians be better off with Trump getting reelected?
So we've already talked about this, right? Trump's biggest donor was Miriam Adelson's husband before he passed away. Now it's Miriam Adelson. She's giving him $100 million, which is what they gave him last time. So a Zionist is Trump's biggest campaign contributor, which of course MAGA doesn't know because they're stupid, right? And even if you tell them this, they're gonna be, oh, that's a lie. That's not true. Even though I can look it up on Open Secrets and it's public information, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm just gonna gaslight you because I'm a fucking idiot.
Is it safe to assume, Moo, that you just don't like MAGA? Do you have MAGA derangement syndrome?
No, I don't like that. What? So why would I like a bunch of people who take away books from kids? And now you're trying to privatize public education, right? Your Fuhrer was just on TV saying that you want to privatize it, and that's your kids, right? You're the poor ones. You're the poorest people in the country, right? That's why you have so many issues with it. You're poor, you're dumb, and now you want to let your Fuhrer privatize education. So keep on going. It's not going to get any better for you. You guys can keep pretending, and that's fine, man. I don't have any kids, right? And I have my education. It's not going to affect me. You're the ones with the dumbass kids, not me.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I did read up on him talking about he wants to get rid of the Department of Education and privatize education. That's frightening to me. I don't know where the direction of that is, but yeah, public school, which is, I grew up in the hood. A lot of folks depended on public school. Privatizing education is not going to be good for folks who need to go to school for free. So that one right there did kind of hit me right.
Bro, you got Trump supporters in the chat saying I need to watch my mouth. Why don't y'all go grab someone by the pussy, man? Seriously, why don't y'all just fuck right off, man? Why don't y'all go watch your Fuhrer's mouth?
Yeah.
Dude, shut the fuck up, man. Seriously.
Moo, are you making friends again, Moo? Now I will say it, to seeing Marjorie Taylor.
They're dumb as hell. Like, oh, you gotta watch your mouth. You gotta watch your mouth. Oh, but I support one of the biggest loudmouth trashy dudes in the world. But you gotta watch your mouth.
Yeah, I will say after seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene interview Dr. Fauci, I don't see why anybody would say a liberal needs to watch their mouth at this point. Or in your case, a progressive. But Marjorie Taylor Greene says, the fake eyelashes thing, of course, we know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I don't.
Listen, everything they say is fake. It's phony. They don't stand behind anything, my dude. And you can stop pretending to care about the Palestinians, right? No, everybody knows MAGA doesn't give a shit about Palestinians. None of you go to the rallies. You probably think they're fucking Antifa, right? I don't see any of you talking about how they're robbing these kids of their degrees for sticking up for these poor babies that are getting offed over in Palestine. So stop pretending, guys. No one believes your bullshit, okay?
I got one more before I move on. We talked about the Department of Education. Greg Akers on YouTube. Removing the Department of Education gets rid of the bureaucracy. The market will correct a lot of things. I'm going to give that one to you.
So here's the problem with the market, right? If you just leave the market alone, which is pretty much what you do because you guys advocate for massive deregulation, right? What do? You get massive monopolies and they eat the smaller businesses, right? So all you're going to do is eliminate your own choice when it comes to business. All you'll have left is monopolies, and then you can go correct that, okay?
All right, Moo. Appreciate you coming on. I'll add a little bit to that, but come on back anytime. Good talk, man.
You have a good one.
All right. And real quick with that comment, removing the Department of Education gets rid of the bureaucracy. The market will correct a lot of things. The free market in a capitalist society is based on the bottom line. If you don't have money, the free market doesn't give a damn about you. We're talking about education, folks. So students who have parents that do not make a lot of income, the free market don't give a fuck about those people. That's how the free market works. It's about people who can afford my good or service. So the idea that you're going to remove the bureaucracy by privatizing education, yeah, you're going to remove the poor people is what you're going to do. Yeah, there won't be as much bureaucracy because the bureaucracy is about ensuring that poor students can get free lunch and access to an education. You don't need that bureaucracy if it's privatized where they only give a damn about those with money. I don't see anything good in that. I think that's bad. I really do. For Trump to say he wants to do that, I know I'll get hammered by my beloved MAGA. You know I'm certainly open to any kind of criticism or critique, so state it in the comments, and we'll certainly take callers in the box, but being a minority with the history of this country, I know that if we get rid of the Department of Education and leave it up to a private system, we're going to be affected first. You're going to start having folks coming up with less education because those areas under a free market system, they're going to be disenfranchised. Nobody gives a damn. There's no money in that area. So why would a private educational system concern itself with an area where there's very little revenue to be made? Just want to give my take on it. I know some of you folks will disagree, but I knew there was something we could agree on. My shirt is blocking me from really reading the names, but just observance or something like that. Thank you, appreciate that. Going back to the box, yeah, privatizing education is frightening to me. Very similar to privatizing healthcare. Well, the people who can't afford it, they don't get it. That's how it works. The free market is about capitalism. It's not about sharing or doing what's fair. Then why do you support the GOP? My politics tend to lean left, but I do believe the GOP should be able to speak. Going back to the box, Den Cal, one of my subscribers. Subscribers always get first dibs in the comment section or in the box. We don't get as many. We can't talk today. We don't have many subscribers, so we give them first dibs. Den Cal, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So what do you think? Trump stating that if he is put on house arrest, there might be a breaking point in this country. The public might not take that very well. What say you?
Well, before we touch on that, I just wanted to expand on that the education comments.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but the Betsy DeVos, who was in charge of the Department of Education during Trump's time, she actually tried to implement that system in the state of Michigan, her home state. It failed miserably. It spread out the money from the public schools throughout the other private schools, and they created what they called the charter schools and the magnet schools, and they eventually ended up with a school lottery to allow some of these kids to try to get into these better schools. They ended up shutting down a whole lot of the public schools in the inner city, and it just hurt the city and the state just so much. But people don't understand that. They don't look up that kind of information, that this system they're talking about has been tried and it failed.
Yeah, what it is an example of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer at the school level. So the schools for the children that have money, the parents, those private schools are going to get more and more of the tax money, and less of it is going to go to the poor schools. It's bad. I don't see any good outcome for that. But some of my viewers are saying, well, if you privatize the market, it'll get rid of the bureaucracy, the government overhead, and somehow everybody will benefit. I vehemently disagree. What say you?
Saying we need to leave our future's education up to capitalists is insane.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, a capitalist system is all about having money. If the people trying to access your good or service has no money, you don't have a time of day for them. So I don't get that one.
Yeah, that's like an oxymoron, but they keep pushing it the same way they push the the trickle down economics and those things that have been tried and failed historically, but they keep getting the people who are hurt the most by it
to agree with it. Well, I think it's the way it's worded sounds appealing to some people, and maybe they don't realize what's going to happen when it takes place. It's just like the healthcare system. Well, the private sector would do well. Yeah, but you got to have money to play in the private sector. If you don't have money, the private sector is not interested in you.
Right, and you have all of the people that was saying, well, Obama said I could keep my doctor. He lied to me. Well, what he said was, all the plans that did not provide people with ample insurance, he would get rid of those plans. Those people who are paying $50, $100 a month for these insurance plans, when they get hurt, they find out their whole lives are bankrupt now because they had an insufficient plan. He got rid of those plans, and therefore you couldn't go to some of those doctors. But that was not the intent of what he was saying. He was saying if you got a decent plan.
I think Obama did lie, but he lied to those that have. He was being honest to the have-nots. But folks who have wealth when he said, if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. A lot of their doctors didn't take the new plan and didn't want to go through all of this shit. So they would draft them. The have-nots, yeah, it worked well for them. The whole purpose of Obamacare, the universal health care system, was to help out the have-nots. It was not really meant to do anything for the haves. And the haves are not interested in taking care of the have-nots. That's why it came up to such a hit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree. That's some nuance in what he said. Yeah. I don't believe that he intentionally just walked out there and said, "Look, I'm a lot of these people, and I'm gonna tell them something that I know is not true."
No, I don't think he tried to. I don't know. I won't say he might have tried to lie, but I won't just say he lied intentionally. But I will say maybe he didn't know. If I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he didn't know. Some of the doctors for people who had decent incomes would jump ship. Maybe he didn't know that, but that's what happened. So the people who were complaining that he lied about saying, if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor, most of them were doing all right. They had good jobs, good insurance. The poor people were like, yay, we finally get insurance. It was the people who have that were bitching and complaining.
True.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, and that was the whole purpose of Obama's administration, is to look out for the have-nots and really kind of do it at the expense of the haves, the whole spread the wealth around. And I do believe that the Republicans do it in reverse. They are more beneficial to the haves. And that's who typically vote Republican. The haves don't really vote Democratic.
Well, I mean, that kind of leads into your question about what is a limit. And the limit can only be reached by the have-nots. The haves they don't have a limit. As long as they still making money in the stock market, their 401ks is doing good. They still keep their interest income, and they could care less. It's the people that don't have anything that are willing to go out there and ruin their own lives because somebody was punished by the American justice system.
So you think Trump may be getting it wrong then when he said there's going to be a boiling point?
No, I think I think he's talking to a segment of society that he knows has his backs, and I think he's trying to bully the American justice system.
Think it'll work?
No, it can't. Once these cases get in front of real people and real judges and real juries, when you put the evidence down there, or you show somebody a videotape of him admitting that he could have declassified something when he was president, but he didn't, there is no MAGA guy in the room that's going to be able to say, well, I don't know what he was talking about.
But you say when these cases get in front of real judges, is Clarence Thomas not a real judge?
Well, that's a different level.
But he's at the top. He's at the very top. Even the judges you think might rule logically for your opinion that might do the right thing, he actually supersedes them.
Right, but he is one of 9.
Yeah, but he ain't the only one on that 9 that acts like that.
Right, but there are enough moderate conservatives on the bench that we've seen some of the cases that came out, even though Clarence was hopping mad in his dissent. He lost because even the case about whether to release the information about his wife and stuff, he was the only person that dissented. Because the rest of them said we cannot ignore this and keep our credibility.
Do you feel confident of that? Because right now they're ruling on whether Trump has immunity in relation to January 6th. And you got another justice that actually has a flag flown upside down suggesting the country was in distress on January 6th at his home. And that's not even Clarence Thomas. That's another one. So there's obviously
those are the two that you automatically know where their vote is going to come down no matter what. But like I said, it's 9 justices. And the younger ones, although they want to lean conservative and they already did their part in messing over Roe v. Wade, they don't want to taint their entire term on of justice as just being these Trumpites. I don't believe they want to do that. I believe they want to help him extend it past the election But when this stuff comes, they're not going to say he has total immunity, because that means so does Biden right
Well,
now.
they don't have to say he has total immunity. They can word it in legal speak well enough that even though they didn't say he has total immunity, he has immunity for what took place on January 6th. They can do it in a certain way.
They can't defy their own ethos as states' rights people. They can't come back and say a state does not have the right to prosecute something that happened in their state. If they come out and say that, bro,
they're hypocrites.
Well, I mean, if there's a next level above the word hypocrite, that's what they would.
I don't know. Cal, I'll just say this: when they were interviewed, Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh, about abortion, they made it clear they were not thinking about doing exactly what they did. So I don't know why you would be in 2024 still wondering if they could say something and do something opposite.
Yeah, well, I believe that they will go so far. I think they have to bite off in small bites before they take big chunks. I don't think they want to just make.
And you don't believe rolling back Roe v. Wade was a big chunk?
That was the big chunk.
Right.
But they also, if you look at some of their decisions during that time, they sprinkled in some for the left. You know, if you look at their decisions, they work their way up to these big ones. They can't just make them all about, far right-wing situations, because Biden still is in office. And if you get enough people to just discredit the Supreme Court, there may be enough people to have a veto-proof majority to say we're going to expand that court because this is not right.
All right. I got to move it on, Cal, but I must say you are a very hopeful, optimistic man. Appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck with that. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. How many other folks believe my last caller got it right? That, his optimism is kind of symbolic of what may take place. I think he's been a bit optimistic, but maybe I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, no real Democrats vote blue. I don't quite get that comment there. I cannot read the names on this shit at all, but somebody said no real Democrats vote blue. Then what does a real Democrat vote? I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Real quick in the comments, James put that hatred towards science. I mean, I guess I got some hatred going on YouTube. Taking it back to the state was the law of the land forever. Get a grip, bruh, says Ken. Look, I get the point that we should not have big government. I'll go back to the box, but I get the point that a lot of folks don't favor big government and it should be a states' rights country. On its face, that does make sense. You don't want people in Wyoming forced to live like folks in New York, forced to live like folks in Florida. Everybody wants to kind of govern themselves to some degree. However, and this is where I think some audiences view it through their own prism and not the prism of others. Being a minority, I just have to bring it up. America has a horrific history of states' rights. When it comes to being a minority, particularly a black person, all of the states' rights conversations are bad. I just, I discussed this with other blacks, other minorities, and it's like, do we just go back to states' rights and ignore the history of what it used to be like when they had the rights and just assume, just hope that stuff won't ever come back? Because the history was awful. And I do have to bring up Arizona, when given an opportunity to exercise states' rights, now that Roe v. Wade has been tossed in a trash heap of history, they went back to 1864. So it has already happened once. Are we to believe that even though Arizona got states' rights approval and went back to 1864, this winter of 2023, they did this shit? Are we to believe that is the only state that will ever go back to the 1800s if this becomes a states' rights country? I don't feel comfortable with that. I think we're now seeing a lot of things happen that 5-10 years ago, folks would have said, you're a liberal fear-mongering. Here's another libtard fear-mongering. I don't think you could have convinced anybody on the right that we would go back to a law from the 1800s. If Trump puts in 3 Supreme Court justices, they're going to start using anti-abortion laws from the 1800s. You're a libtard, making up shit. You got Trump derangement syndrome. But it happened. But it actually took place. So now you go and say, well, something else may happen, and suddenly you go right back to being a libtard. I don't know. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. But Trump is saying that if he is placed on house arrest, his words, I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. At a certain point, there is a breaking point. That's what we're discussing today. What the hell does he mean by a breaking point? Program is always will remain MAGA friendly. Tap the screen, get your boy on up to 50,000. Nearly 900 of you here. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Get the likes up to 25. Going back to the box. Breaking point. If Trump is placed on house arrest, we'll go to Kevin J, a subscriber. Kevin J, what do you think?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What do you think of breaking point? What do you think he means by that?
Have you heard the term stochastic terrorism?
What kind of terrorism?
Stochastic.
I'm going to plead ignorance on that one, but I want to know what it means.
It's, a little bit of my history. I'm almost 50 years old now, but in a different life, I was involved with white supremacist organization. And stochastic terrorism is a common thing. It's, I sure hope somebody doesn't do this. And then people take that as a message to go do it.
Kind of like a mob boss saying if the family would really be making a lot of money if this lady would just go away.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you take a look at the guy's history, right? He in construction in 70s in New York, and his dad they already talked about his dad having mob connections in his business and all that other stuff. This guy grew up thinking that he was not Don, but he was a Don.
Damn.
And I have no doubt. It's the same as the Proud Boys, stand back, stand by, right? And then it took them 2 days to retract that. When the Charlottesville thing happened, there were great people on both sides. It took them a day or two to walk that back and explain it. You have to let the message sink in. You have to let the people go, and the people that are getting the message that he wants them to get, they're just saying now he's only saying this now because he has to.
But I'm being told that it is Biden that is the one that hung around Senator Byrd, and Biden's a racist, and Trump loves black people.
And I've heard the same thing, and I'd like to say it was a different time, but I honestly look at Biden as an old man trying to get into heaven now.
Damn, that's bad though. And I agree with you though. I do agree with you.
I don't think Trump has any belief in heaven or has any care for it.
Wow. The evangelicals love Trump. You telling me the guy ain't even religious?
I just watched, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, Reverend Schnaff, something like that. He testified in front of Congress about the 2016 election and whether or not to endorse Trump and all of the different negative liabilities that Trump had, but their main focus was Roe v. Wade. And he was promising that. And so they were basically like, we're going to hold our noses at the ballots and vote for him, even though he doesn't represent anything that we believe, but he says he's going to get rid of this killing babies thing. And that's what they wanted, And
so they overlooked all of their own religious principles just for Roe v. Wade to be overturned.
Absolutely.
So that don't make them look very good at all either then.
No, but it's funny when I listen to people talk about how it's so, thank God he's a Christian and this and that. You have no evidence of him ever going to church. When the George Floyd stuff was happening in D.C., he had the crowd gassed so he could go stand in front of a church he'd never been in and hold a Bible upside down for a photo op.
Yeah, but it's interesting you're saying this stuff now because you said yourself early in the conversation you used to partake in white supremacist activities.
Well, I was part of an organization and it lasted for about a year because I didn't want to take part in some of the biggest activity was the one that I drew the line on was it was the MLK Day parade in Tampa, and they wanted me to hand out these pamphlets with a group of them that were calling MLA that he was a plagiarist and that he was a womanizer and he was all these things. And I was like, none of that matters, even if it is true.
Yeah.
It
is true. He was a womanizer. Martin Luther King was a womanizer. But you're right. It doesn't matter. But it is true.
Right. Yeah, and so then it brought on the conversation of they believe that there's a massive conspiracy that's controlled by Jews, that they're keeping us fighting with each other, and that we got to take control and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, what are you gonna do with it? If you get it, and then we'll make this country white and this and that. And I never bought into the racist thing. I always thought, back then, like, well, if you're black and you want to live around black people, you should have the right. And there should be a place that you could do that in America. And the same with white people, the same with whatever, and that was just a young, immature mind at the time.
So you no longer support that now?
No, okay. No. I haven't since 1999. Yeah. So.
Because that's basically segregation. If I'm white and I only want to live around whites, I should be able to do that by law. In other words, blacks are prohibited from living in this area. I've talked to particularly whites. I've talked to a couple of blacks, but it's almost always whites that do believe that if, you got your own neighborhood, I got my own. It's not like we don't like you or anything, but we believe you should be in your neighborhood and we should be in ours. And we did have a Supreme Court once that ruled separate but equal is not equal. Because they don't divvy everything up right.
No, I absolutely agree. Yeah. I agree. Like I said, I was in my early 20s back then. An immature mind figuring out my ideas, and the biggest part of it, the reason why I even joined with that is because I just wanted to be a part of something. I was kind of lost in my life and not knowing what I'm doing, moving around the country. And here's a group of people that accept me and make me feel good about me, but not for anything that I did. That's the part that ended up sinking in. I didn't do anything to be born white. You know what I mean? And so I that's the thing I've never understood, the pride in something I had nothing to do with and I didn't work for. You know what I mean?
So what about folks who yell, I'm proud to be black or Black Lives Matter? Do you take any offense to that?
Not Black Lives Matter, although I think that was, and this may be offensive to some of you, I think that was bad PR. I think it should be BLMT,
Black Lives Matter too.
Correct. Yeah. And then we don't have a problem.
I agree with you that the statement can be taken away. I'm fine with Black Lives Matter too, but I disagree with you in stating that it wouldn't be a problem. Fact is, if you're fighting for civil rights, there is always going to be a problem. There is no right way to fight for civil rights. Not one single civil rights leader in American history did it the right way. They hated all of them. Even the basketball players, shut up and dribble. There is no way to do that the right way.
I absolutely agree with that as well. Yeah. When all of the riots were going on, I was fighting with a few close friends of mine because they're like, well, don't do that. And I'm like, well, then what do they do? My understanding of a protest is our voice isn't being heard. So we need to get you to join our voice, and we need you to complain to the powers that be because we've now inconvenienced you and you can maybe be heard, and that's how I always viewed it. And so I don't know. I think you're right, though. There would still be a problem because somebody would come up with a creative way to say that that's somehow wrong, too.
Well, like you mentioned Martin Luther King, he wasn't about riots and looting. And when he was around, they were doing exactly what your group tried to say. They said he was a womanizer. They said you're going to find things to demonize a person with. Whether we're talking about Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson, they demonize all of them. Ben Crump, if you're not protesting violently, then that's fine. The next thing we can point out. There's no way to fight for civil rights. Medgar Evers, there's not a single civil rights leader in history that they didn't demonize in some way, fashion, or form, because at the end of the day, it's the civil rights I don't want you fighting for. So I'm going to find a way not to like you.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And it's, like I said, it's, I've matured and grown and thought a lot of things, and that kind of, and so I 100% agreed with the protests. I live up in the Seattle area. I didn't go down to, I don't know if you remember the Chaz zone or Chop zone.
In Portland?
No, in Capitol Hill, Seattle.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, the autonomous zone. I encouraged my daughter, who was, I think, she was 19 at the time. You know, I'm like, this is your chance to go walk through history, because this is stuff that's going to be taught somewhere down the road in college. You know,
so you really changed. So what do you think of Trump going forward? Do you think he was a good leader when he was in office?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, could you imagine if a leader went in front of a camera and said, the CDC is recommending that you wear masks. I'm going to wear my mask. It's your choice to do so, but I'm going to follow what the CDC says. Boom. It's not politicized anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a leader. And he goes back and forth, you know. I fear. I'm actually listening to a book called Blowback right now by Miles Taylor. I don't know if you've heard of the book.
I think I may have, but keep going. I think I heard somebody else recommend it to me.
He was the guy that worked for the Department of Homeland Security in the Trump administration. He's a lifelong Republican, and he was in the administration, and he ended up writing anonymous letters to the New York Times, and ended up, when he finally came out and said who he was, he needed personal security, you know, all of that, because he had to have personal security from billionaires paying for it.
Damn.
You know, to protect his life, because he had betrayed Trump. And Trump talking about, we need to root out this weasel, you know, and
that ain't safe to do.
Things.
Yeah, betraying Trump is not safe. But I do got to move it on, Kevin. Good talk. And by the way, thank you for the subscription as well, man.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
You too. Strong stuff. Wow, strong stuff. Look, at the end of the day, you know, because he mentioned that he used to partake in a white supremacist organization. When we say we don't block, ban, or censor you, we believe in letting the folks speak. Now, the outcome of his life, he's changed his trajectory completely, but I didn't know that when he started talking. We were going to let him we were going to entertain what he had to say. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 70,000. Over 900 of you in here. I appreciate that. You could be anywhere you want to be today. It's good to have you here. It is free speech all day, every day. MAGA friendly, but liberals are welcome as well. MAGA are my preferred guests. We do take MAGA every day, all day, but liberals get in as well. Look it in the comments. Now, what the hell am I looking at here? I don't know what you're looking at, future you. I don't know. Real quick. I am not listening to no 80-year-old man unless it's my father. 65 years after that, they should all retire. So that means you don't want to support Trump or Biden, because if Trump gets reelected, he will be 80 while president as well. So we must write in Donald Trump's name in the election so that they cannot steal the election by digitally changing it with a push of a button like they did the last time. I'll go back to the box, but real quick, I say the same thing all the time when we talk about the 2020 election being stolen. The idea that Trump could win by a landslide in 2020, tons of folks voting for him, more than Biden. Remember, Biden, there's no way he could get 80 million votes by campaigning in his basement. So Trump got way more votes than Biden, while Trump was in control of the White House, in control of the Senate. Remember Mitch McConnell? Trump was in control of these organizations. Now he's just a citizen on the outside looking in, and folks believe Trump is going to win because we can just vote him in this time. Even though you're claiming while he was president, you're voting him in to the tune of a landslide didn't work the last time. Biden, the citizen, could steal the votes, steal the election from Trump, but now Biden, the president, can't do it again. And that actually makes sense to people. I'm just going to tell you flat out, if Trump wins in 2024 in November, that is solid proof that the election theory about 2020 of it being stolen is flat out bullshit. Because if Biden can steal it as a citizen, he damn sure can keep it as president. If he is that fucking corrupt, there's no way in hell that a president can't do what a citizen was able to successfully do. Makes no sense at all. We just gonna vote him in this time. Wow. Going back to the box. It's kind of comical. It is kind of comical, to be honest with you. Going back to the box, we'll go to truck driver 45. I like it. There we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden approval rating continues to what? To drop. That actually is not true. Now that Trump has been convicted, there are polls showing that Biden's approval rating, approval rating is different, but Biden's chances at the polls are getting better. It's still within the margin of error, so it's not like Biden is taking off and running away with it. But he has went up since Trump was found guilty of 34 felonies. Those felonies did not help Trump, despite many suggesting that it did. It helped him raise some money, and even if he loses, he can keep that. So yeah, if you like money, you're doing good. But in terms of winning, no, it did not help him out. No, Donnie will be if Kennedy wins. Huh? Don't get that one. All right, my last caller, trucker number 45, did not come through, so we'll keep it moving on. Do appreciate you folks that are tuned in. I don't know what that one says, but we'll go to it. I think it says SEMA. Laughing out loud. This is a joke, right? If you're not laughing, it's not a joke. Semantics. Good afternoon.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. So what do you think? A breaking point. If Trump is placed on house arrest, he says there may be a breaking point in this country.
I mean, that's him. That's him threatening. Hey, that's him kind of signaling. Hey, you guys should go start a breaking point because I said so. It's like when he said, "Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath." Wink, wink. Hey, everybody, let's go start a bloodbath. I mean,
so is it safe to assume? Is it safe to assume you personally believe that Trump wants violence if things doesn't go his way?
I don't know. You know, I don't want to pin the desire of violence on him. I think as he kind of takes on the persona of sort of a mob boss, and he goes, "Look, just take care of it. Don't tell me how." And sort of, you know, he did it with Russia, if you're listening, right? If I said Russia, if you're listening, with regard to harming the president, I would be in cuffs, right? So he does a very wink, wink, I'm the mob boss, like, just take care of it, Guido, or whatever, you know, whatever a mob boss would say. And I think that's what he's kind of doing. He's like, hey, somebody out there, take care of this for me. It's going to be a bloodbath.
So you do see it as a dog whistle. Hang on. Mandy's Candy on real quick. Mandy's Candy on YouTube. Member for a month. Thank you, Mandy. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Thank you for the support on YouTube, Mandy. Appreciate that. Stay awesome, handsome. I appreciate the accolade as well. So you do see him, semantics.
Right. I should have just said dog whistle. I sat there chit-chatting for like 30 seconds. I should have just said dog whistle. Yeah. You're 100% right.
Wow. So what about September 11th? What about January 6th? Was that a response to a dog whistle?
I think so. I think, look, if I have, like, we all have that buddy or had that buddy or knew a buddy that would start the bar fight. All you had to do was signal to him and say, well, look, I think that guy's looking at you. And you know he's going to go start a bar fight. And he knows, at this point, he knows he has a base that will do anything for him. And all he has to say is, like, I'll go down there with you guys and we'll take care of it. And then he can just dip out, right? And obviously, whether or not he really wanted to go there, who cares? He knows the power of his words. He knows the influence that he has over his base. He knows that.
I believe he did want to go with them to the Capitol building because he, during the January 6th hearings, testimony came out that he said, they're not here to hurt me. So he knew that I do, just like with the caravan that went down to protect the border in Mexico, all those truckers a few months back. I believe if Trump was president, he would have went with them. That's why I strongly believe Trump would be far more effective at securing the border than Biden, because I think Trump would break the law to do it. I mean, up to and including,
break it with cruelty.
Yeah, up to and including loss of life. If you're not going to enter America under any circumstance, I don't give a damn what the Supreme Court justice say of what. If you try to come in here under my watch, it's your ass. I do believe he would be way more effective at that because he'll go to whatever end.
Yeah, and you know the thing is that the thing that I disagree with on the way that they're you know, they will do whatever it takes to protect the border. If I was in Mexico and I lost my passport, I got mugged, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm on the border, and I'm like, I gotta get back. I'm 20 miles from a border crossing or 10 miles from a border crossing, and I just crossed the river back to my home country, they
That's
want
your
to
ass.
catch me and send me back.
Yeah,
they want to catch me, send me back, or they want to drown me with buoys. Like, that's the reality. And, you know, innocent until proven guilty, right? You don't know. Like, look, yeah, you can guess, you can assume, yeah, some of these people coming over are undocumented, they shouldn't be here. But this is America. You can't say that. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, because there are circumstances where I might have to swim across the river to get home.
Well, their mindset, though, is if you enter America illegally, you're not innocent until proven guilty. You've already committed a crime just coming here, even if you are an American citizen trying to get back home.
Yeah, and again, that's where they're wrong, right? That's where they're mistaken, in my opinion.
So what did you think of the Trump presidency? Because many would say under Trump they were doing better economically. They believed that the country was a more safer place. What say you?
I would say that during the Trump presidency, my family and I transitioned from not being millionaires to being millionaires, right? Does that mean that I support his presidency? Nope. It just means that, and I'm not a conservative, I'm not a Republican. It just means that I did me and my family did whatever it took, and we got whatever luck we got. And under any president, we have prospered. And it's not to say that crossover was, oh my God, we went from 100,000 net worth to 1.1 million net worth. No, we went from like 800 to like 1.1. Right, it's steady. You know, our net worth has been.
But here's what I don't get: it with someone with a high net worth like yourself, why wouldn't you vote for Trump? I mean, he is the guy that's going to keep your taxes low, not going to force you to share with folks who want free shit, as they say, not going to partake in socialist policies or entitlements at all. Seem like, unless there's other things you're concerned with, other than just your wealth. But if your wealth is the most important thing to you, you should vote Trump.
Let me tell you the only reason, people have had this discussion, I'm sure you've heard it on your own show oftentimes, when people say there's no ethical billionaires, right? And let's suppose that's a thing, right? I mean, here's how I think I could be an ethical billionaire. Like, let's say I just won the lottery and I won $1 billion. I think when I cross over from being ethical to not ethical is where I use my wealth, my vast wealth, to protect me having wealth.
That's usually what happens.
Different from using, like, for me, if we in our neighborhood, we bought up our house and we bought up a house next to us. If I had more money, I would maybe buy one more so that all of our kids could each have a home within, our neighborhood. I would never use my wealth to, lobby City Hall to rezone it so that people couldn't move in. I wouldn't be a NIMBY, right? That's the point. Going back to your question is, I don't believe that his policies are there to help others catch up to me. And I'm not at the top, right? And that's why I look at it. Let me tell you one of the biggest things that benefited me from the tax from the 2017 tax bill, and it wasn't even until COVID. It was the Trump presidency put some provisions in there to benefit business owners, specifically in the real estate business. They updated what was called the qualified improvement deduction, I think is what it was, but only for real estate, which means that I could go and give it. So if I put in a swimming pool, I have to depreciate that over 27 and a half years, the life of the rental, right? What he allowed me to do is, and I didn't do this with a swimming pool, but he allowed me to buy it all and deduct it all in 1 year.
Damn.
Like, that's one of these. Yeah, it expired in 2022, I think. So we were able to put in hardwood floors. That was like $9,000, and we were able to deduct all that $9,000 in 1 year. We were able to remodel the house. So if I put in a pool, I think it's better to depreciate that over 27 years. But it's kind of cool to do that. That was strictly a thing that they put in just to benefit people that are like Trump. I don't agree with that. I'll take advantage of it, but I don't agree with it. I don't think that's bringing everybody up. I don't think that making, we have 4 homes. One of them is in Texas. We pay about $6,000 a year in property taxes. Okay. I'm fine with that because I know that goes, $2,500 a year goes to the local school district that my kids don't go to, but kids that, are the kids of people that I grew up with, they go there. This benefits them. I'm not for using my wealth.
See folks of wealth don't generally think like you, don't generally talk like what you're talking about. They do exactly what you're saying. They use their wealth to enrich themselves further and limit access of others who are beneath them to get to that level.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's where what my beliefs are not. Look, a lot of people, when they become wealthy, like you said, they start to turn more conservative because once you have a lot of money, you want to keep all that money.
Right.
I think it's possible to keep all that money by making more money and by making those around me prosper. So, you know, we Airbnb one of our homes in Texas. And you know, and we're not these people that bought up homes all over the place. We bought a home in Texas, and then we bought a home in California, and then we moved to Texas. We didn't sell the first home. We bought the second home. And then from Texas, we went to Colorado. We didn't sell the first home. So we've kept the homes so that our kids could have something. You know, 2 years ago, we put in $50,000 in remodeling to our home in Texas, all to local contractors. All, you know, we didn't nickel and dime them. We paid them very well. We gave back to the economy.
Yeah, I got to move it on, but unfortunately, there's just not enough. There's not enough people out there like you. But I got to move.
I appreciate you. I'll come back. I appreciate you.
Anytime. Semantics, appreciate you coming through. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that have wealth that think the way he does. Not enough. I won't say not a lot. There are, as he pointed out, there are ethical millionaire and billionaires, but most of them aren't. Most of them are not doing that. Most of them may give away just enough in charity to file and claim it back just to say they did a little something. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. I mean, fact is, anytime you hear of a social policy in this country, anything from welfare, food stamps, free lunch in schools, you name it, healthcare, who's going to pay for it? We do live in a wealthy, selfish country. I mean, you name the social policy to help the poor, and I can almost tell you what excuse was used not to do it or not to be in favor of it. We don't believe in sharing in this country, but that's how wealth is. I got mine, you get yours. Yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Alter ego. Thank you. I had to look you up. Thank you. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy likes on up to 90,000. Still about 900 of you in there, so I do appreciate that. Program is always will be MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. And I will have to solicit what I normally say. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host block, ban, or censor, you follow the program on TikTok. My YouTube viewers, feel free to drop a subscription. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we're here. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 1,300 hours. So going back to the box, asking that question, Jimmy with the TikTok hat, thank you. Asking that question, Trump stated that if he is put on house arrest, at some point, there might be a boiling point in this country. Breaking point is what he used, though. So what did he mean by that? If he's placed on house arrest and that there's a breaking point, he flat out said, I don't know if the public would stand for it. So if Trump is placed on house arrest, the public won't even stand for it. What is he talking about? We'll go straight to the box. We'll keep it moving with Big Rex. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Tim, who are you going to vote for? I lean left politically. I'm pro-choice. I mean, I can go down the laundry. I don't believe Trump is all bad. I was for his tariffs. I believe in securing the border. I think Biden's doing a terrible job. But I do lean left on a lot of issues. Big Rex, good afternoon.
Hey, brother.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back on. What does Trump mean when he says that if he's placed on house arrest, the public wouldn't stand for it?
He just wants something to go down like what happened January 6th. That's all. He just wants people to be upset to show support for him, but it ain't gonna happen like he thinks. Because look at all his rallies and stuff that are going on now. He don't even have people out there. They tired of him. Even the MAGA people are tired of him.
He claims he was able to pull 100,000 when he had a rally in the Bronx. What say you?
I saw about 1,000.
No.
If that.
No, wait. The Bronx? You think he only got 1,000?
There wasn't that many.
Okay.
Shit, I saw that. They showed it. There wasn't that many people.
Listen, I don't believe. I agree with you. It certainly was not 100,000, but that man could pull more than 1,000 people at 2 a.m.
Man.
Not even 1,000?
Why did it show up? I didn't see. It was probably about 5,000. I'll give them that. Fuck it.
And they knocked it up to 100 G's.
Well, I mean, that's what they do.
Mm.
But my thing, I mean, he just, if he had anything positive to say, then I'd think about it. Really, because he got a lot of damn heart. I'll give it to him. He don't give a damn about nothing. But I mean, you know, literally, because look, he does it. He does what he wants to do, and nothing happened. Yeah, they got him on these charges. That's good. He needed that. Somebody need to break him down a little bit. But he just can't go around doing what he does and expect to get away with it. And imagine him being back in office, knowing what to do now.
But what did you think of his actual presidency? Folks would say we had $2 gas. There was not all these global conflicts. Our border was more secure. Did the man not do a good job?
Okay. As far as the border, yeah, they did okay.
We getting somewhere. Okay. You MAGA. Keep going.
Yeah, I ain't MAGA. I see what he was doing. It's just the fact that the way he does things is wrong. There's ways to do things, and he's just flat out, he don't know the right way to do anything. He just bulls straight ahead like a fucking bull in a china cat. It's crazy. Food was cheaper. I see that thing. Everything was cheaper. Okay, I'll give him that. Gas, all that.
Is that not good?
But he don't control gas. He don't control gas though.
Right.
The corporations do, and right now, all this stuff that's going on, they still always billions of dollars every quarter profit. So they don't care what's going on in our country, as long as they sell their stuff.
No major wars breaking out under Trump. Now under Biden, we got at least 2 major conflicts with the potential of a third.
Because Trump don't give a damn about no war. He'll send everything we got at somebody. Damn the consequences. He don't care.
But
just so he can make him look good.
Well, but some would say if you're going to defend the country, sending every damn thing you got at the enemy is what you should do. I mean, we went into Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and we ended up leaving and having to go back, Operation Iraqi Freedom later on because George H.W. didn't do the job.
Yeah, because he's doing the right thing. When you do the right thing, sometimes it's hard to get it done. Trump will do whatever the fuck he has to do to get it done, whether it's moral or not.
Okay. Yeah.
He don't care about people.
I agree with you 100%, but the reason this nation is number one is because we became that way by not doing things morally. Where you at in the bird sanctuary?
What?
What is that in the background chirping?
It ain't here. Oh, my birds. Yeah, I'm outside.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you in a bird sanctuary or something.
Well, I got a lot of birds. I got a big yard.
Okay. Well, this time, it's nice to talk to a brother that talks about birds and it's not drugs. I actually hear real birds in the background.
Well, they're real.
Yeah, those are. What kind of birds are they?
I'm just tired of the whole thing, though, man. I really am. Trump, Biden, all of them. I'm tired of all of them because they're not doing. They're not helping us. They're helping a certain group of people. And these MAGA people, they don't care. They just want to go with Trump because he showed his prejudice side. And that's all they wanted.
What do you mean? What has Trump done to make you suggest he showed his prejudice side?
When he opened his damn mouth. The shithole countries, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he says it and don't realize he said it. Because he just don't care. And then someone will point it out to him and he'll backtrack. Well, he didn't mean it like that. Yeah, he did. He said it. He meant exactly what he said.
So when folks say that they believe Trump is racist, you agree with that?
No, but he's prejudiced and bigoted. Racist means I don't want this black doctor working on me because he's black. That's racist.
Okay.
He don't want nothing to do with black people. Now, prejudice is different. I don't like. He got a few black friends. You didn't know that?
Yeah. Mike Tyson.
At least he acts like he does. Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Well, that's for sure, though. That's all. He don't give a damn about black people at all. Look at his daddy. Damn.
Well,
When he was running, when he was running the first time, I thought, well, I can overlook his dad because he never came out like that because he was with black people and all that.
Right.
But then when he was campaigning and all the stuff he said, well, that changed my mind right there. I don't want him because I don't deal with prejudiced people, man. That dude don't care.
Wow.
And another thing, why would he turn Roe versus Wade? Women have the right to do what they want to with their body. It is not a man's decision to tell them what to do.
Well, but the argument is going to be he didn't deny women the right to do what they want with their bodies. He just gave the power back to the states.
Yeah, because they want that Social Security number. They don't want nobody having an abortion. They need that Social Security number to get loans from other countries. They're betting on 350 million people are going to be paying taxes every day. And that's what they use for collateral, our Social Security numbers. They need people. They don't care what kind.
So you believe they are trying to ban abortion because it's a money play?
Yeah. You know how much every person is guaranteed to make $100,000 in their lifetime, minimum.
Okay. I've never heard of it this way.
I saw a program on it. I don't remember where, but it made sense to me when I saw that because I couldn't figure out why they would worry about stuff like that. It's all money. It's only everything that deals with money, the government wants it. If I make $100,000, they're going to take so much of it. Why am I busting my ass making a good living when I got to give them money for the privilege of working? Makes no sense to me. I understand giving up my fair share, but it ain't fair.
So
the rich people ain't paying shit.
So they actually are forcing women that potentially have children they don't want to profit.
Yeah.
I've never heard
That's
this
the only thing I can see. That program, it made sense to me, and I wish I could. I'm gonna try to find it because I'd just be damned. I don't watch TV no more, man. I ain't watched TV in 5 years. The news I get is from y'all.
I see a lot of. I'll just tell you this, Big Rex. We've talked before. There's a lot of folks in the comments on both platforms that agree with you. I've never heard someone come on and say that before. Wow.
I have to find out. I have to find it because I promise I don't make shit up. I mean, I listen to everything everybody says. If it makes sense to me, then I agree with it, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, but I was always told the anti-abortion stance was rooted in upsetting the replacement theory that, one group is being replaced by the other, so we need more children. I've never heard it mentioned because we need to make money off of these people.
They have to pay taxes. They need that tax money to secure loans with other countries. That's their guarantee of a loan from other countries. That's why we're able to borrow so much money. We ain't giving them our property.
This shit is disturbing, man. Wow. Okay.
No, we're not giving them our property though.
Yeah, I get your point.
We're guaranteeing them that we can pay them because we have 350 million people paying taxes, and they're supposed to make a certain amount in their lifetime. This ain't no payback next month loan these people get,
Right.
So, wow. I mean, that's long term.
Wow. Crazy shit. Send me what you got. I got to move it on, but you definitely make it clear they're playing chess when I'm thinking checkers. I appreciate you sending. Let me see what you're talking about. I want to look into that. I've never heard this before. But Big Rex, I do got to move it on.
Brother, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you too, man.
I will be here every single day. I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for the support. And that's why I always say, folks, it's not my show, it's not your show, it's our show, because we can exchange ideas and all educate each other to some degree or another if we don't piss each other off. That's why I believe in free speech without any fear of being blocked, banned, and censored. I've never heard what that man was just talking about. But I've seen the audience going nuts on both platforms, so now I do want to hear more about it. If it's wrong, if I disagree with it, I'll come back and tell you. But I do want to hear more about that subject. Look at it in the comments. Hey, Tim, do you think the border is so bad because Trump and MAGA keep yelling that it is open? Partially, yeah. I do believe that what did they say? The squeakiest wheel gets the oil. I do believe that the 10 million illegals coming in the country and they're mostly rapists and murderers is, in my opinion, false. The analysis of watching as much media as I do, particularly right-wing media, anytime an illegal immigrant commits a major felony like rape or murder, it is plastered all over right-wing media. And you guys have heard me state that there are not enough cases being shown on right-wing media to justify the idea that 10 million folks have come in the country and they're raping and murdering people. Now, I do believe, I wasn't in New York just the other day, a Venezuelan illegal immigrant shot at 2 cops. That's currently being plastered all over right-wing media. But before that, there was a big gap. I stick to my original statement that if 10 million illegals came in this country and they're mostly here to rape and murder folks and do all this bad shit, there should be a new story of an illegal immigrant killing somebody on the media every single night. 10 million? There's only 365 days in a damn year. Even if you had one every night, that's well under 1%. And it's just, the numbers, the evidence is just not there. It's just not anywhere near as bad as the right plays it out to be. So yeah, I do believe some of it has to do with people standing up and yelling about the problem over and over again. And I don't believe it's as dire as the right makes it sound. But fact is, we don't need to have one illegal immigrant coming in the country and murdering somebody. One is too many, which is why I have said I believe Biden's doing a shitty job at the border, and the truth is sufficient. The truth about what's happening in the border, in my opinion, is sufficient. You don't need to make up all these lies. I think that Trump is telling a lie when the truth will do. Just tell the truth about what's happening at the border. It's not secure. You got illegal immigrants or you got undocumented immigrants or folks coming in the country to seek asylum, which means they're not here illegally, by the way. If you come seek asylum, you follow the law. But if you commit a damn crime, you should be deported immediately. And under the Biden administration, that's not happening. Even the guys I just mentioned that allegedly shot 2 cops, I think it was in New York this weekend, I haven't heard the word deporting them come up. They'll go to prison, but it should be an absolute certainty that if you commit a felony of any type while you are still being considered on whether you should instantly be disqualified, period. Stealing, hurting somebody, burglary, breaking and entering, anything you do like that, while you're waiting to have your residency decided, should instantly disqualify you. And there should be a significant time period before you can be reconsidered. Now, that's a right-wing opinion in this progressive administration. But that's my opinion. I think that Trump is better on the border for that aspect. But I do believe Trump would go way further to the right of that. I do believe Trump would be totally fine with taking the life of anybody caught entering the country illegally. I think he's pretty much that strong on it. So it is what it is. But anyway, looking in the comments, Tim, go seek asylum in Mexico. Good luck. I don't think I would need to. I think they would let me in. I think the Mexicans would let me in with a look, I got decent income. I think they would. I don't think I would need to do all that. And by the way, that may happen if Trump gets reelected and starts imposing very strict abortion laws and privatizing schools and shit like that. I don't ever believe folks who say that, well, if the wrong guy gets elected, I'm gonna lead the country. But if we go too far to the right, I do believe you can see that. Because there are other right-wing examples on this planet, other governments that are far right. And I don't think any of us want to pattern ourselves after a far-right government. It's generally very religious-based. This is what, when I say far-right, I mean, think about any country that is far-right. Generally, it's going to be a very religious society. Any far-right country generally does not favor women very much at all. There is a bunch of far-right countries on this planet. Think about how they're ran. We got 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. Imagine 7-2 or 8-1. If we get a far-right country, start thinking about how far-right countries on the planet are ran. That's how it is. Looking in the comments, though, if Mexico's pushing Americans out, if Mexico is pushing Americans out, then Shouldn't we push all Mexicans out? Nick, the problem is there's too many Mexicans or Americans with Mexican ancestry permeated throughout our government to do that. It's not like it would have been in, years ago. I mean, you got Mexican mayors and Mexican, city council. I mean, they're too deeply embedded in government to do something like that. You would need probably some violence to make that happen. People with multiple citizenship laws in other nations don't accept USA citizenship as a main. Afghanistan no longer accepts people back from the USA with citizenship. Yeah, I can see why. I mean, just like if you leave America and you live in a communist country or something like that, you may have a hard time coming back. Remember, during the Holocaust, we didn't let Jewish migrants come to this country because we said that they were communists and things like that. I mean, the ideology after living in America, going back to Afghanistan, there's going to be problems. I mean, America's ran completely different than Afghanistan. And by the way, Afghanistan is a far-right country. Going back to the box, Pink Razor. Okay, that's unique. Good afternoon, Pink.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you on. So Trump stated, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but he stated that if he was put on house arrest, his quote, I don't know if the public would stand for it. I think it would be tough for the public to take. At a certain point, there's a breaking point. What do you think he's alluding to? What is he saying? That if he is placed on house arrest, there would be a breaking point and the public wouldn't take it. What do you think that means?
A breaking point. Well, I find that interesting. Like, I'd like to see him. So he's getting an ankle bracelet? No,
it's not confirmed. Yeah, none of this is confirmed. He's going to be sentenced on July 11th. It could be probation or something even lighter, but it could be actual jail time or house arrest. He was asked by a reporter about what would happen if he was placed on house arrest, and he said, I'm okay with it, and then gave out that quote.
I mean, first of all, that's embarrassing. Second of all, I really don't think that if he had an ankle bracelet, I'm pretty sure that would take him, like, he's not going to be able to run for president regardless. But is he running for president or something? Or did they take him out of the presidency since now he's being charged all those charges?
No, he's still, you're in the U.S., right?
No, I'm in Canada.
Okay, okay. Now it makes sense. Yeah, he's running for president still. Okay, I wanted to make sure you were
still running. Oh, but
yeah.
Oh, okay. Because if he had an ankle bracelet, they would know where he is at all times. And like, isn't he somebody that like they don't want to have surveillance on him at all times because he's a president?
Well, if he was placed on house arrest because he's surrounded by the Secret Service at all times, they could assign one agent to be responsible for his whereabouts. They don't need to put an ankle bracelet on him. Just one agent could be.
Yeah, they could fake that. They could even take it off him and like put it on a dummy or something and have it like walk around the White House, dressed up looking like him so that it looks like he's at the White House, but he's like in Argentina or something.
No, that's not going to happen with somebody with.
They can't do that?
With a face as familiar as President Trump. You think you're just going to go through security at the airport and get on the plane and nobody don't know who the hell you are?
Well, I mean, if you've seen that one movie with Johnny Depp, I mean, he literally looked like Donald Trump until he took off the mask. Like,
that's not how this works. Yeah, that's not how this works. He has a Secret Service detail for life. So the Secret Service is responsible for his security. So if he did go to Argentina, for instance, he needs protection to follow him. They all can't just lead a country as a group without people knowing. They got wives and family at home. You can't just go move to Argentina with this guy. That's not going to happen. He's not going to use a stunt double. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. I just thought, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of stupid. I was watching this movie where this person had he had an ankle bracelet. So he ran around his whole yard and like the street and like put markers on like as far as he could go in each direction. So at least he knew because...
That's why that is a movie. But in regards to this case, what do you guys think of Trump in Canada?
We hate him. We also hate our own prime minister, just because I have not seen anything positive that he's done. What have you seen negative? I'm sorry?
What have you said? You haven't seen anything positive that Trump has done in Canada. What have you seen negative? Why do you guys hate him?
Well, I mean, okay, so them wanting to get us to help budget the border because we're also on the border, like to the States. Also, like, it just, I mean, I have a lot of friends that live in the States, and it's to a point where, like, everybody, it was up in chaos. When Trump was president, everything was up in chaos. Like, it was like watching that show Smarter Than a Fifth Grader. Like, this guy had no experience. He literally was like Paris Hilton running for president or something. like that bad. Like, just total Trisha Paytas, like, just total, like, has no idea what is going on in the world. I will admit that he accumulated some knowledge being president. Like, he did get to meet with, other countries' superior officers and, like, their chain of command. And he did get to meet a lot of people, so he was educated on, like, the military and, like, how things in some countries are running. But he also made friends with some of the most hated people in the world, like Putin and all these other people that are starting wars now. And I'm sorry, but he is one button away. Like, when I mean the red button, like, if he becomes president, he's going to press the red button, and either he's going to join Putin on that war, or he's going to join Israel on their war. And it's...
So you see Trump as a genuine bad guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Can I say one more thing also? Because, like, Canada's kind of a joke. I mean, we don't really have a military at all. Like, we have no military. So, I mean, I feel like we're always, like, sucking the state's dick, basically, just to stay in the alliance with, like, the United Nations and everything. But at the end of the day, like, Canada has nothing to offer when it comes to military. Like, we have nothing. So we have to be buddy-buddy with you guys, or we would get, like, wiped off the map, basically, because we have no military. And I don't like the fact that we're known as peacekeepers when we go to other countries with tanks and other shit supplied by the U.S. I don't see that as peacekeeping. Like, if you're going to peacekeep, you go somewhere. You don't need weapons to peacekeep. So I hate that our country is known for peacekeeping when really we're just allies with the States, and we do the same thing that they do.
Yeah, and I used to live in Australia, and it's kind of the same way down there. They have a very small military contingent, and they're very much the same way. I mean, in fact, most of our strongest allies, like Great Britain and all of them, are pretty much following lockstep behind us. They do have somewhat of a military in many European countries, but at the end of the day, it's kind of left up to whatever America does. We kind of must follow. How do you guys view President Biden?
Okay, now I will admit at the beginning I did not like him. Like, I thought him and Trump were, like, equally as bad, and he basically was just the lesser evil. And also, I know why a lot of people did vote for him is because he is an environmentalist, and he fights for the environment, and he believes in climate change. Right. And he is trying to turn the States into an eco-sustainable country, so that you guys basically, like, can supply and use your own and depend on your own resources instead of having to branch out to, like, China or the Middle East or even Canada for, like, I know we give, like, almost, I think, 90% of our electricity to you guys. We sell it to you guys. And so, like, I know that he was supporting all of these bills that are being passed to switch to wind energy and solar energy and all of these, like, energy efficient resources that I think you guys would benefit from. Now, when Trump was president, he literally, and actually so did my prime minister, they signed a bill to approve an oil pipeline going through indigenous communities.
Yeah, that's the pipeline we hear about all the time here.
Yeah, and he approved it when, like, people, even celebrities, were fighting for, like, their rights because it's the indigenous people's land. We have no right, like, even if there's a 1% that the water could be polluted from the oil pipeline going through it, that's enough to say no. You know what I mean? Because, like, millions of people depend on that water. So for you to let an oil spill or an oil leak happen like it did, I don't know how many years ago that was. Do you remember when that oil spill happened in the States?
We've had Exxon Valdez. We've had a number of them. I don't know which one you're talking about specifically. We've had a number of them, though.
I think it was was when Trump was president, actually, and it was just like, millions of wildlife or millions of marine life.
I hear your point, but let me just say this real quick in regards to the pipeline, the indigenous people and things like that. If you can give Americans $2 gas, $2 a gallon gas, they don't give a damn about the indigenous people or destroying wildlife. That's the reason why we continue to be on big oil, because at the end of the day, if you can save me money, I don't care about what happens to other people. I don't give a damn if you got a child out there pumping it. That's how Americans are. That's what we like. It's wrong. I'm not going to defend it, but that is kind of how it was. Yeah, that's how it is.
Those are like angry people, and a lot of them are closed-minded, old-fashioned, and out of date. And the thing is like, him wanting to build coal factories also that destroys acres of land every day. I mean, it's like he wants to go back to the Stone Ages, and I can just see Biden being like progressing into like the future and to like the eco, just helping the environment and like helping people also. There was this machine I saw on TikTok. I mean, they're still making them. They're basically smart benches, but the trees in the smart benches are made of algae or something, and they basically suck the carbon dioxide, and then they give off like oxygen, like clean, purified oxygen.
I can hear it right now. They're gonna love that. Pink, I do gotta move it on. No, send me that. Sure. I'd like to see what the hell that is. Thank you for coming through. Our first time talking.
Yeah, it is.
Come on back anytime. You're always welcome back. Thank you. Anytime. Moving the program on. I will say, somebody in the comments, Z-Tropolin or something says you're kind of defending. No, I was being sarcastic. I don't think that way personally. I'm saying America itself. If you can give Americans gas back for $2 a gallon, they don't give a damn about insulting or hurting indigenous people's territory. They don't care about that. At the end of the day, we are a country of me, me, me. We don't care about that stuff. It is what it is. I mean, there's a reason why you got the EPA and OSHA and all this other shit, because the people didn't care about destroying the environment. If I got a corporation and I got a choice between dumping waste products in your backyard for a few bucks or following the rules of the EPA or OSHA and paying millions, I'm gonna dump this shit in your backyard. That's what Americans do. It is wrong. As a person, I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying from a sarcastic standpoint, from an American mindset, a lot of Americans would do that shit. There's a reason we have 3-letter organizations. They didn't just create the FDA for no reason at all or the EPA for no reason at all. It's because drug companies would sell you a placebo and tell you it's a cure at a high price. So you had to have the FDA or tell you that tobacco is good for you. People are about making money in a capitalist society. They don't give a damn about your health or the fucking environment. That's the way this country was founded. So the pipeline versus being concerned with the wishes of the indigenous people, they're going to vote pipeline all day, every day. I mean, it's just the way it is. Hell, I know growing up on the south side of Chicago, they took the neighborhoods where the African Americans just chopped them down to build a highway system. That was all black neighborhoods. Who gives a damn? We want this. It helps the country. Screw you. That's how it works. Look at it in the comments, though. You think the FDA cares about people's health. You're smarter than that. I know America would be worse without the FDA. Do I believe the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, do I believe they're corruption free? No. But should we get rid of the Food and Drug Administration and depend on the food and drug companies, to be honest? Why do you think people are so fucking fat? It's because they've been loosening regulations on what they can put in the food. So yes, I want to have the FDA around. Are they perfect? No. But I want some kind of push-pull with the food and drug companies. I don't want to leave them to their own devices, or as some would say, let the free market decide. Free market don't give a damn about you either. Look at it in the comments. Deregulation by Reagan. That's a good example. because some would say the railroad accident, tragedy, the whole tragic event in Palestine, Ohio, where you had a train derail and dump toxic chemicals in that small town. Deregulation. You didn't need as many engineers focused on safety on that train. 1 or 2 people on that long ass train. Deregulation allows you to do shit with less checks and balances, because at the end of the day, it helps the corporation. It is what it is. Looking in the comments, Mountain Dew is banned in some countries. Yeah, a lot of our food is bad for you. I moved to Australia and just started losing fucking weight. The food there is not bad. It's not as bad as it is here. We sell food based on trying to get you to come and buy more. If I can come up with an addictive substance to put in food, and the FDA will look the other way on whether it's healthy or not, I'm going to put it in the food. I want to make more money off you. Going back to the box, including putting a ton of sugar on flakes so that kids will eat them in the morning. Moving on, we'll go straight to Radar Sooner. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Bro, I just grabbed a Mountain Dew. Oh, that is so funny. Philip Riley, we talked about Mountain Dew being banned in countries, and he's like, I'm drinking one now. That is hilarious. Radar Sooner, good afternoon.
Yeah, I've been watching your live. I really like it. You've got good control over your emotions, and you listen to people. I think the biggest thing for me, and like I said, all this is personal, and people got to get over this thing that, you've got to think like me. That's what I see a lot of on these lives. For me, it is comparative analysis, okay?
Elaborate.
Everything to me is about comparative analysis, and there's so many things that I want to say. You look at this Trump situation, and it's not good, and I wish he would just come out and say, you know what, yeah, I did doctor that stuff, and
Doctor, what stuff?
I wanted to get elected. I mean, here's the problem. When I say comparative analysis, I feel like Democrats get a free pass, and I realize that Bill Clinton was impeached, but you didn't hear the public outrage over it. I mean, come on, this guy is in office, in the Oval Office, on duty, while married with a young woman getting his poll licked. I mean, it's unbelievable. The duplicity.
Wait a minute. Okay, first of all, we know what happened with Bill Clinton was a consensual act. And you say the public outrage. They impeached him. It was all over the news. Everybody from jail. This is before social media. And it still was everywhere. What do you mean that you didn't see the public outrage?
He gained popularity, kind of similar to what Trump is doing. Now, yeah. I'm also going to say this, that I believe that leftism and liberalism is weakness. And ironically, even against Trump. So basically, and this is before he was found guilty of all those charges, he had violated that gag order numerous times, yeah. And that judge did not put him in jail. Yeah. You take the border, same thing. It has been going on. It's ridiculous. And political correctness, calling them migrants instead of illegal aliens. They're illegal aliens. They're coming in illegally. It's this weakness. I am not kidding you, sir, that weakness begets weakness. That's what I feel. And over this, the abortion thing, I don't know. That one, to me, it's kind of like this. We should be teaching our children, and I know you're not religious, to maintain self-control until you're married or use protection. Now, if you get pregnant, there are plenty of people that would like to have babies.
That's not. I'll let you continue, but I got to interrupt you and say that I don't feel confident that if people get pregnant, there are enough folks waiting by to adopt those children. There's a lot of kids in foster care right now that'll never, they have to wait till they're emancipated and age out of it. A lot of kids do that. Even with abortion being legal, there were not enough to adopt. Now that abortion is starting to be illegal in a lot of places, I don't see that.
I don't know. I think people need to learn to quit, me, and start controlling themselves. Some of these children, we don't know what they're going to become. They could become something wonderful. But that is.
But are we going to help any of them, though? If you're going to pass a law to outlaw abortion, are you going to at least make sure the kid can eat, has diapers, has formula? Or are you going to tell the mother, you should have been responsible before you had sex, and now you should be responsible and have a job? We don't give a damn about the kid that we made sure came to term. We're not going to help you out at all.
I see your point, and I kind of agree in a way that we should be helping them. And I think that if we can send billions of dollars over to Ukraine and to Israel, I think we could do that. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. But like I said, it's, any type of, to me, we have become too weak. And the judge, by not throwing Trump in jail, he sent a message. The guy can do whatever he wants to do.
I think so. Do you think the judge should have locked Trump up? And thank you, Grandma, for the hat mustache.
For those gag order violations, absolutely, because he did tell him, whether I agree with them or not, doesn't matter. You said that this was the law. You said you make that decision of what a gag order violation is. Yes, he should have gone to jail for that. But I do feel that people that, especially, it seems like Democrats are protected. I mean, it just seems that they don't throw the book at them. And when they do, you don't hear much about it. For example, Michael Avenatti, who was Stormy Daniels' lawyer, he got thrown in the clink.
Yeah.
But you hardly heard anything about it. It wasn't publicized very much. I feel like Hillary Clinton and Hunter Biden, and even Joe Biden to a certain degree, they get away with stuff. It just, to the American public, I think they hate hypocrisy more than they hate Trump breaking the law. That's just my opinion.
Well, let me interrupt and ask you this. In regards to you pointing out liberal weaknesses or liberalism being weak, do you see Trump or the Republican side, conservatives, as more strong?
In some ways, yes, I do, but it remains to be seen. Totally remains to be seen now, because now we're in with the Russian war. We're in with the Ukraine thing, and sometimes strong means saying no. For example, no, we're not going to give you billions of dollars. I mean, sometimes strength can be looked at that way.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked you, because you mentioned the likes of Hillary Clinton getting away with things and stuff like that. And you hear a lot of folks on the right talking about, if they're going after Trump, why didn't they go after Hillary Clinton? And I asked the same question over and over again. Trump told us Hillary Clinton was crooked before becoming president. Once he became president, if the right is stronger, why didn't he prosecute Hillary Clinton? For God's sake, he's accusing her of treason. Why didn't he do anything?
Well, and this goes to the argument that he just let it live and went about his presidency. It seems like the Democrats are far more aggressive in political prosecutions. But when it comes down to it, it's for show, because like I said,
you let someone get away with treason? How are you viewing that again?
Yeah, you make a point. I mean, he could have put some energy into that.
Yeah, that's about it. There's nothing that the Democrat, in regards to Democratic weakness, if you're saying somebody committed an act of treason and you didn't do anything, I don't know what the Democrats are doing that's weaker than that.
Well, I think basically he was just talking tough, and he's not always as strong as he comes across, but. Of more recent, with that judge not throwing him in jail, and people are suspicious. I mean, his sentencing hearing is right before the Republican National Convention. Why not sentence him? Sooner. everything just stinks to a lot of people.
Yeah, but you got to understand, we are talking about Trump. Anything that is done that is adverse to Trump is going to stink to people. Like you said, they're sentencing them right before the the RNC.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But you said, why don't they do it earlier? But if they did it earlier, they would say that they're doing it right before the debate. Or if they pushed it out, you're doing it right before the election. No matter when they do it, there's going to be a reason to say you're doing it at the wrong time.
There's no reason to go that far out. But I'm gonna say this, that here's another thing that's hypocritical that I cannot stand. When I hear people say that the Republicans are only for the wealthy. If that was the case, then how come is it I have never heard of one Hollywood celebrity, sports star, rich musician say, we want to pay higher taxes? You know, I have never heard any of them say that. And that is hypocrisy in itself too. So I just don't like, I'm Republican. Even though I think that Trump says some dumb things, which he has, I don't think he's going to become a dictator, and I don't think that he drank bleach or that he really told people to drink bleach. I think all that stuff it's like, come on, man, use your head. He said to take hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Michelle Obama's a man. Obama was born in Kenya. Hillary Clinton's drinking babies. You do realize that stuff's happening on both sides, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But with you know, in regards to COVID, for example, okay, there's another thing. You know, it seems like that was used as political motivation. I mean, look, Donald said take hydroxychloroquine. I never heard him say drink the bleach. I heard about it. I thought, who the hell is so dumb as to believe that? That's exaggeration. And now, and I'm going to tell you something, sir. I am an asthmatic, and when I get sick, like in the winter, I get it bad. I mean, I cough and have trouble breathing and all this stuff. And I went to the clinic 3 times this last winter. And over a period of 4 months, I caught 3 colds. And when you're an asthmatic like me, catching colds is like a death sentence. Not one nurse or doctor was concerned about COVID. Now, that is just unbelievable. And we're under Biden. And I'm sorry, it just stinks. It stinks to me.
I can't speak on that, but I will say this, considering the fact that and I was going to do the show, and I may talk about it tomorrow, but Dr. Fauci being testifying before Congress, here's the issue I have. If the likes of Dr. Fauci and the information being released during that era was so wrong, just like I asked you, why didn't Trump go after Hillary Clinton if she committed treason? Why would he still be going on television every damn day with Dr. Fauci if the guy was giving out bad information? He could have easily allocated Dr. Fauci to a different, because I don't think he could have fired him. I don't think Trump had the power to fire him, but he had the power to reallocate him. Put him on the HIV task force or something else, take him off of COVID, shit, give it to Ben Carlson or somebody. Trump going on television every day with Dr. Fauci, like, in letting Dr. Fauci give his direction on how we should run the country during the pandemic, Trump standing right next to him. Then at night, Trump's holding rallies where they're yelling, fire Dr. Fauci. Then the next day, he's back on television with him, letting the guy tell us how to run the country. Do you not see Trump himself really fucking that up?
Well, that's a great observation, and it's something that, you know, if you're not paying attention to, you pay attention to stuff probably closer than I do, and you know, when you put it like that, yeah, it sounds pretty stupid. But again, with this injecting bleach, and I was reading some of the comments in here, he really did say that. Really did, you know, I mean, seriously, people, think for yourselves. I mean, these people, I don't care who my president is. If he says something like that, I'm going to think he's kidding. And if he is serious, I'm going to say, well, he's just ignorant in that area. He's just...
I hear your point about...
It's ridiculous.
I know he talked about disinfectant. I don't know if he said specifically to drink it, but he did go on television during the day with Dr. Fauci looking like they were unified. And then he goes on tour at night or rallies at night criticizing the guy. And then the next day he's back on TV with him. And he did that for like a month. That is about as mixed messaging and backwards as you can be on the pandemic. That right there doesn't excuse any of the other stuff we're talking about.
No, I agree. That's true. I think that, you know, he pushed for fast vaccines. The Democrats were just complaining the whole time, but they weren't really doing anything to help against COVID. And I do not believe that shutting all those businesses down and everything was the way to go. I mean, in retrospect, especially, but even during the time it was happening, I was like, why are they doing this? I mean,
people are dying. I hear it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this stuff, Radar, but during the time when people are dying and the funeral homes are even telling you, I know somebody in your family just passed away, but unfortunately we're booked. We don't have enough time to let you come in here and mourn because we got so many other families. That's why a lot of these errors were made. During the time when people are dropping dead all over the damn place, that's going to happen.
You know, maybe because it didn't touch me or any of my family.
There you go. There you
I have
go.
a different view of it.
That may have something to do with it. That's because I don't have the same sympathy for what's going on in Gaza as a Palestinian because it's not affecting me. I get your point. But the fact is, I do know people who had lost loved ones in Chicago and was having a hard time finding a funeral home that would take the body because they were overbooked. It was that bad.
You know, and I think COVID is a horrible thing, but I think also to blame, a lot of it, you know, was blaming Trump for this virus. I mean, it's a virus.
Not blaming him for the virus, blaming him for the mishandling of. Remember early on when the pandemic in America started around November of 2019. Trump got on television and said it'll be gone by April of that next year. Why the hell would he say that?
Very ignorant. Very ignorant, I gotta say.
Right. That's a disaster. Yeah. His handling of the pandemic alone is a disaster. Like, who's telling you to say this stuff? It's crazy.
He's not a very good politician, I'll tell you that. But I think sometimes, maybe he's got ADHD. I don't know. But it was an ignorant thing to say. But I think that...
Dangerous.
Well, I do. But I think that... you know, once that virus had gone out, I mean, it was pretty much you're either going to get it or you're not going to get it. And I had it, and luckily for me, it was no worse than when I get these well, I call them super colds, because I think there's a bunch of horrible viruses out these days, especially if you're asthmatic. I mean, I had never been so sick as this last winter, and that was way past the COVID days. But I don't hear, even the nurse that I asked, I said, how come you don't ask me if I've got COVID or seem concerned? And she's like, well, we're not worried about that anymore. Just treat that like a cold. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not even lying, sir.
But coming from the president, it's a bit different because millions of people are tuned into your every word. But I do got to move it on there, Radar.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Anytime. Anytime.
Right, okay.
Come on back through. All right, moving the program on. And on Betty and on YouTube, Chris Langmo says, in regards to President Trump saying it'll be gone by April, talking about COVID, he was just trying to keep people calm in the situation. Really? Now, it could be correct that President Trump telling folks maybe the virus will be gone by April was just keep trying to keep people calm. But what happens when people realize you're flat out lying to them in the middle of a pandemic? I mean, that's what you're doing, because as of the next month after April, May, people were still dying in droves. So now you've lost trust because you told people that would be like on September 11th. Oh, they just remodeling. You'll see a little bit of dust coming out the building. Trying to keep people calm until the damn building collapses on people and kills them while they're walking the street. You don't lie to the American people during a major disaster to keep people calm when it is pretty obvious that they're going to find out the truth if the shit doesn't disappear by April. Listen, I understand a lot of folks favor President Trump over Biden. I get it. There are a lot of legitimate reasons to vote for Trump as opposed to Biden, depending on your principles. But let's not get to the point where we'll make up an excuse for any damn thing. You're lying during a pandemic when millions of people are dying. And you just say something to hopefully calm people down, not taking in consideration what the hell's going to happen when they find out I made this up. When people are still dying the next day after I told them it was going to end. That's wrong. That is just flat out wrong to do that. I don't know why anybody would defend it. Tap the screen. Get your guy on up to about 130,000. We still have nearly 1,000 of you in here. Appreciate that. This is an uncensored program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the comment section. You don't have to agree with the host. It's about free speech. It's not my program. It's not your program. Damn it, it's all of our program. It is MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always will be. Liberals are welcome as well. People lost their jobs for not taking the jab that is now killing people. It is what it is. I mean, if the government tells you that unvaccinated people are dangerous and you have a corporation or a company, let's say you got a restaurant and you want your waitresses to get the jab. Some of them don't want to get it. They shouldn't be forced to get it. But now your patrons, maybe a couple of them turn up with COVID and they're blaming these unvaccinated waitresses you got roaming around. Maybe they're wrong, but the word gets out. If you go to his restaurant, the waitresses are unvaccinated, and apparently some of the customers have got COVID. That's going to hurt your business. That's going to hurt your business. So you as a business owner, for you folks who are pro-free market, why don't the business owner have the right to say whether or not he wants somebody vaccinated? For you folks that are pro-states' rights, all of a sudden the liberal states want people to be vaccinated, and all of the pro-states' rights shit goes out the window. Governor Whitmer requiring people in Michigan to be vaccinated. What happened to being for states' rights? No, we want to be like Florida and Michigan. Would it work if the abortion folks in Texas said we want to be like Illinois? No, we're for states' rights. Texas should have a right to decide whether a woman has a right to have an abortion or not. They shouldn't be forced to be like Illinois. But during COVID, you didn't have a problem with forcing states to do what you thought was right. Folks, the hypocrisy is out there. Let me go back to the box, though. So what are you trying to change? So what are you trying to change women's rights? So what am I trying? Listen, I'm pro-choice, period. Childbirth is dangerous. Even in 2024, with all the medical advances we've had, people can still die in childbirth. Even a successful childbirth takes a toll on the woman's body. If she gets pregnant and she doesn't want to go through that, who the hell am I to tell her she got to do it anyway? I'm not going to help her with the kid. I'm not going to help her with the expenses in labor in delivery. If something happens to her in any way, shape, or form, damn it, I'm not going to be there. So why should I be able to tell her what to do? That's why I'm not a fan of it. I'm not there any step of the way. So why should I have a say-so on what she does? That's the way I view it. Look at it in the comments. Someone who chose life gave birth to the person who advocates for murdering the unborn. Yeah, but the person who chose life also took care of that person. We're running a pro-life society with no concern for the mothers. You're talking about, well, I shouldn't have the right to choose because my parent chose life. Yeah, but my parent also took care of me. You're forcing me to choose life and you're not going to do a damn thing for me. It's different. It's a little bit different. If I saw a lot of love and sympathy coming from the pro-life crowd towards the people they're going to affect, we might have a discussion. I'm not seeing any of that. I'm seeing more of, as I bring up often, Drago in Rocky IV standing over Apollo. If he dies, he dies. If she dies in childbirth, she dies. We're only here to save the kid. I'm not seeing any love or emotion for the mom at all. It's just save the kid. Hope for the best for the mom. If she don't make it, okay, well, too bad. Maybe God meant for her to die in the process. I'm not seeing it. Look at it in the comments. This bro making money and you are NPCs brokies. Okay, who's making money and what do you mean by NPC? I don't get that one. Cool, then I should be able to choose whether or not I have to pay child support. Yeah, fair enough. It's your baby. Don't be a deadbeat dad, says save man or woman peace. I don't know. I don't get that one. What are you saying? Because the woman got pregnant by the guy, the man should be able to force her to go through all of this? So right off the bat, I guess you're going to agree that the man should then have to cover all of the prenatal expenses too then now, because you're forcing her to go through the whole process. I just don't agree with it because, like I said, there's health issues and all of that. You do realize all these charges will be dropped by the Supreme Court, so he's not a felon at that point. Crybaby GBC, I do believe that could happen federally. The state charges, I don't think so. I don't believe the state charges are that's likely to happen. He's being charged at the state level as well. I believe the charges from Fonnie Willis are also state related. I don't believe the Supreme Court, that is in his favor, by the way, and that's what you're alluding to. And I do agree with you that the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court, is in Trump's back pocket. I do believe that. But I don't think that they're going to drop all the charges like that. The state charges, I don't know if they have the right to drop them. Be a woman and stop betting. Be a woman and stop betting the wrong man. Damn. You know, in regards to that, I'll go back to the box because I see a bunch of you folks are holding on. Tap the screen. Over 1,000. We can get up to 150,000 likes if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Be a woman and stop betting the wrong man. In other words, instead of wanting access to abortions, just make the right decisions sexually. This is what we often get when we're talking about the gun debate. What do folks always say? You can't legislate responsibility. You can't fix stupid, so to speak. But when it comes to abortion, that's exactly what you're trying to do. We're going to legislate responsibility. You don't want it happening with guns. To me, there's some parallels. A lot of parallels between the Second Amendment issue and the abortion. The only difference is the Second Amendment is constitutionally protected. Abortion is not. But outside of that, there's a lot of issues that are very similar. The right, or better yet, the left is anti-Second Amendment because they believe if you ban guns, you'll save lives. The right is anti-abortion because they believe if you ban abortion, you'll save lives. So there's a lot of similarities in that, but certainly the part about you can't fix stupid, you can't legislate responsibility, but that's exactly what you're trying to do by saying, well, women should be more responsible. It's just, good luck with that. There's a reason why abortion became legal in the first place. It's because the same things you're demanding happen now wasn't happening then. It's just going to go right back to that. Looking in the comments, more kids are shot. Yeah, I do believe more guns in society equates to more people being wrongfully shot. Going to the box, Gen X, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Thank you for your support, by the way, Gen X. Hopefully the box will bring them up.
I'm here.
There you go. Okay, so what do you think? Trump talking about if he is placed on house arrest, that the country, that the people of this nation would not fall for it, would not go for it. What do you think he means?
I think what he means is that they're going to see through the charade. I've heard people on the program going, there'll be riots, there'll be this, there'll be that, there'll be other. No, I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think it will strengthen his position with his base.
Well, when he was impeached, it strengthened his position. When he was impeached the second time, it strengthened his position. When he got a mugshot, it strengthened his position. When he got his home raided, I mean, how much strong? The guy's got to be like the Hulk at this point.
His base is incredibly loyal.
Yeah. But what they
loyal. They put him on house arrest. It's just going to solidify that. You're going to have more people going from the middle to the right. It's going to blow up in everybody's faces.
So,
and not in a violent manner.
But he's already saying he's going to win without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, he can say that all he wants, but the numbers will tell.
Yeah. So when he says, I don't know if the public would stand for it, I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at a certain point, there's a breaking point. You believe the breaking point is just votes?
I think people are going to talk with their votes.
No violence.
No violence.
You're the first to say that. I don't know. A breaking point? I've never heard of votes being referred to as a breaking point.
That is what I would do, and that's what most of the people around me will do. I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a MAGA. But I live around a lot of them. We're very conservative space where I live. There is no way we would take to the streets. Not a chance.
Who did you vote for in 2020?
In 2020, I did vote for Trump, not for Biden, because Biden has just made so many bad policies. And I didn't vote
Hillary
originally
Clinton.
when it was between Trump and Clinton, because Clinton is a no, but I wasn't too sure about Trump either.
Mm.
So I just didn't vote.
Okay. So how do you think Trump did as president?
I think he did okay.
Okay.
Our economy was strong. He did okay. For somebody having no political background, I think he did okay. Yes, he's got a mouth. Yes, he's an asshole. He is an absolute asshole. I wouldn't want to know him as a person.
That's really bad. Wow. Damn, he that bad?
He's an asshole.
What about Biden? What do you think he's done as president?
It wasn't as president. It was everything he did while he was a senator.
Give me some examples.
Like the stop and frisk.
I
think it was called. That did a lot of damage to more impoverished areas, including Black communities.
So if him being for stop and frisk, is that a deal breaker with you? Gen X, or are you there?
You just froze on me. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. You just froze on me. I'm sorry.
Would Biden being in favor of stop and frisk, is that a deal breaker for you?
Yeah. You don't pass that kind of legislation. I'm Gen X, as my handle says.
Let me ask.
A lot better than these current generations.
Let me ask you something. You know who Rudolph Giuliani is, right?
No, actually, I don't.
You don't know who?
I can't say I do off the top of my head. I probably might know what they've done.
Okay, let me. The former mayor of New York during September 11th. He's Trump. He was.
Oh yes.
Now he was big on stop and frisk. Trump supports stop and frisk. How do you feel about that? Trump has openly stated he's in favor of stop and frisk.
Did he enact any laws for stop and frisk?
No, but I'll give you a perfect example. Sheriff Joe.
If somebody believes in something,
but
they don't act on that.
But he did act on it.
Enough.
He did. Let me give you another example. In addition to Rudolph Giuliani, a longtime friend of Trump, being a huge proponent of stop and frisk, Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I'm assuming you don't know who Sheriff Joe Arpaio is, but he was a well-known sheriff down in Arizona who actually had his deputies stopping and frisking brown people to prove that they were residents of this country, because we've always had a border problem. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, huh?
I was one of them.
Okay. What, you're one of what?
I was one of the people who got stopped.
In Arizona?
In Arizona, I was living there at the time.
How did you feel about it?
I have a big mouth. It got me into some trouble.
Okay, but you weren't stopped for being brown and they didn't demand citizenship from you.
Yeah, they did. They asked for my papers every time.
Okay.
And here's the thing, I was born and raised here.
Okay.
And get this, I'm mostly Native American, not Hispanic.
Do you think it is wrong for that to happen?
Absolutely, it's wrong for it to happen.
Okay.
There was no reason to do any of that to any of them.
Okay, the reason I'm bringing that up, Sheriff Joe Arpaio doing what he did to you and many other folks down in Arizona, he was actually charged for doing it, because that is a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. He was found guilty and was about to be sentenced to prison. Guess who pardoned him and prevented him from facing justice for doing that?
You're going to tell me Trump, aren't you?
I'm going to tell you Trump, yes.
Then that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Any stop and frisk bullshit is bullshit. And I didn't know about that part.
Mm-hmm.
but I'll look it up just to validate, because I don't accept what anybody says. I have to validate everything.
Yeah.
And I've made a note of it.
Please validate it. Come on back anytime. I don't make things up.
It's just, I get that. But it's those types of policies that we need to get away from.
Okay. Now, you mentioned stop and frisk being a deal breaker.
Well, those types of activities, yes.
So he basically...
Those types of policies.
Right.
I don't see it as a good thing.
So he...
Which is why I'm voting for Kennedy.
So you wouldn't vote for Trump in this election?
No, I'm voting for Kennedy.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Not Biden, not Trump.
Right.
I get Trump has a very loyal base, but the conversation was, do you think there's going to be riots? No, I don't think there's going to be riots.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I don't think there's going to be any violence whatsoever. And I will be absolutely shocked, and I will come on here and apologize to everybody if I'm wrong on that one.
But you are voting for Kennedy, not Trump.
I am voting for Kennedy, not Trump.
Okay. I just asked because my audience, they're questioning that.
What?
My audience, after hearing our conversation, they don't seem to believe you're going to vote for Kennedy. They think you're MAGA.
That's okay. You can think I'm MAGA all you want. You can fuck all the way off. I can care less. I'm Gen X. I don't give a flying fuck or shit what you have to say. You're just a little troll online trying to assume and make things up. But I have thought about it. I did think about it. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine that I've worked with for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, what if we just vote for him to give him his second term so we can be done with the bastard?
Ooh. So who do you think is, if you vote for Kennedy, who's not going to win by any stretch of the imagination, but who do you think he takes the most votes from?
Who takes the most
Who does Kennedy, between Trump and Biden, the voters who vote for Kennedy, which side is that voter hurting the most? People who vote for Kennedy is taking votes away from either Biden or Trump.
I think it's pretty even-handed because they're going for the middle of the road.
Okay. So what do you think?
Andy,
what do you think?
You need to get a grip. Just telling you in the comments there, darling. You need to get a grip. There's a difference between Gen X and boomers.
What do you favor about Kennedy?
He's even keel on pro-life. There's limitations, but it exists. I like the fact that he wants to put the budget on a blockchain.
What do you mean a blockchain?
One of Kennedy's talking points is putting the U.S. government's budget on a blockchain, which would make it open to all citizens to be able to go line by line by line through that budget and see where they're spending monies.
Wow.
I really like that idea. That is a high level of accountability. His VP pick is very tech savvy, especially when it comes to AI. And Lord knows the U.S. is behind on AI regulation.
Fair enough.
Other countries are way in front of us. So what they're presenting are actual practical problems with actual practical solutions, while the other two just seem to be in a mudslinging contest.
I like your position, although it'll never materialize, it'll never be in the White House, but I do appreciate it, Gen X. I do got to move it on. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for listening.
Anytime.
Bye.
All right, moving the program on. By the way, girl, what does it say? Girl democracy is the word. Yeah. I get your point is that we're voting for Biden. I'm assuming you mean you're voting for Biden because Trump is a threat to democracy. Now, a lot of folks on the right don't believe Trump is a threat to democracy at all. My last caller doesn't believe Trump is a threat to democracy. Perhaps he won't be, but I do believe that folks that do think Trump is a threat to democracy are not just talking out of their ass. I mean, Trump is using crazy ass language. It's just people on the right believe it's a joke. He's just saying it. You're taking that out of context. But he is saying things like give the police immunity. He's saying things like I want to be a dictator from day. I mean, he's saying crazy shit. Now, if you're on the right and you favor Trump in his direction, yeah, you don't mean any of this. Okay, fair enough. But he is saying it. He is saying it. And you can't blame folks for taking your statements at face value. He is saying that stuff. Because I've mentioned him suggesting that, not suggesting, but stating, flat out stating, he wants to give police immunity because in his terms, police need their powers and their respect back. That's a quote. He said that. I don't know if that'll lead to a dictatorship, but it ain't good. Meaning he said that. That's not pulling that out my ass. That's an actual quote. Can you blame an American citizen for bringing that up, or should they just ignore it? Looking in the comments, Obama spoke of the death of the republic. Okay, I don't know what to say about that, but every president, the country is dilapidated, the military is, Trump. I don't know where that falls in line with this. I mean, because if Obama is talking about, as you say, the death of the republic, is he saying he wants to kill the republic? No, I don't think there's any quotes for that. So Kennedy won't be in that set thinking like that. We see they don't want Trump. Mr. Mobs, I quite get what you're saying. Kennedy is a rhino, 100%. He's not. He doesn't even claim to be a Republican. Why are you calling Kennedy a rhino? Rhino means Republican in name only. You're pretending like you're a Republican when you're really not. Similar to Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Last week, he dropped his Democratic registration. Now he's an independent. He was a Democrat in name only. Christian Cinema, Democrat in name only. So, but Kennedy has never stated he was a Republican. So he can't be a rhino unless you're at least claiming to be a Republican. How would you rank President Trump as president? It's a good question. Who posed that? Something numbers or whatever. How would I rank Trump as president? Controversial, inflammatory. I don't believe Trump's performance in office as president. Take away the rhetoric, take away the tweets, take away the insults. Just his performance as a president. I don't think it was that bad. Even when you talk to liberals that despise Trump, it's not the policies. It's the tweets. It's the chaos. It's the insults. It's not. Well, he did a law for this. It's not most of that stuff. It's the deliberate intention of pissing people off, angering folks, dividing folks. That's what. So controversial and certainly inflammatory is how I would rate it. And by the way, it's deliberate. It is deliberate. I mean, Black Lives Matter's a terrorist outfit. Get that son of a bitch off the field. Athletes taking a knee. Fucking Bird Brain, Sleepy Joe, Nervous Nancy, Crazy Bernie, Marco Rubio with small hands. My wife looks better than Ted Cruz. None of that's policy related. None of it is. My war heroes don't get captured. General Milley's the most overrated general in U.S. history. I mean, none of that has anything to do with running the country. It's just things that piss people off. And there's a lot of it. Look how much I just came up with without even having to do nothing but think about it. I know I could come up with a half hour worth of shit that has nothing to do with running the country. It's just stuff designed to piss people off. Why he did it, I don't know, but I do believe that is the primary reason he's not in the White House. I believe if Trump was not on the internet, he would be finishing up his second term. I think on paper, he deserved a second term, but you can only piss off so many people. You can only burn so many bridges. It is what it is. All right, going back to the box, we'll continue the program on with Robert Porter. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. The idea that at a certain point, there's going to be a breaking point if Trump is placed on house arrest. Robert, what say you? Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's a possibility that there's a few Democrat senators pushing for Biden to pardon Trump.
I heard that. Bill O'Reilly is doing that too.
Because they've opened up a Pandora box. Let me tell you something. There's 3 or 4 presidents right now that can be charged with crimes. And that's what it's going to end up being. We can charge any president with a crime now that they've done Trump that way. See, this is my problem. They gaslight us, including you. You gaslight too and don't realize it. Let me say, content creators, the media, they all sit here and they talk about how, Biden is not all there mentally, so he's not able to be charged, okay? Because of his age and because of his, mental state. Mm-hmm. But they say the same thing. The left says that Trump's the one that's old and, you know what I'm saying, senile and shouldn't be running the country, but yet they charge him. You understand what I'm saying?
To some degree. Let me just say this. I'm not pretending like I don't believe some of the charges that Trump is facing are political in nature. I do believe that him running for office is the reason why he's facing a lot of these charges. Just like Hunter Biden, which the right has no problem with. If Hunter Biden's dad wasn't running for president, that shit wouldn't be happening. They would have made a deal and that would not be taking place. So I do believe politically based cases happen. But I got to bring up January 6th. That you talk about any president could be, other presidents could be charged with crimes. January 6th is unique. What he did on January 6th, I don't have any other explanation for that other than it was deliberately designed to be disruptive. And it turned out to be a nightmare.
No, but he did tell everybody to go peacefully. He also signed off for National Guards, which Pelosi and them didn't accept.
So let me ask you that. In regards to
they want to accept it. They wanted that to happen.
Right, but let me ask you that question. In regards to the National Guard, now you're one of the ones that believe that Pelosi's job was to provide the National Guard, correct?
It was one of them, yes.
Okay. So let me ask it to you this way. We know before Trump spoke, and Trump spoke for about 90 minutes on January 6th. Before him, everybody from Steve Bannon to Michael Flynn to his son Don Jr., they all spoke that day there too. Now, the whole time, according to you and many others, Nancy Pelosi was supposed to provide security. So you're talking about 3 hours worth of speeches, knowing security has not been provided that you requested. So I'm gonna ask you this simple question: knowing that security's not there, why the hell would you send them to the Capitol building?
Because he sent them there in peace. He didn't send them there to fight.
Then why do you need security? If all you
just like BLM. BLM wasn't out there burning building down and rioting. It was the people they placed with them.
But that's not answering the question. That's not
the ones that destroyed.
If all
BLM look bad.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make is this: if you felt you needed security, but yet you feel I can say go in peace and everybody will be peace, then why do you need security to begin with? If your words have that much power, just show up and say everybody be peaceful. Why are you requesting the National Guard if your words have that much power?
Because that's just a standard thing. They were only supposed to be on call, but the president has to sign off on it. So he went ahead and signed off on it, whether they needed them or not. But at some point, when they needed them and they called for them, Pelosi and a couple other people that were supposed to sign off on them wouldn't do it. They called them to ask them to sign off on it, and then she wouldn't.
But I'm taking what you're saying at face value in saying that if they didn't provide security, why would you send people to the Capitol building knowing that you don't have adequate security and all of the head of the country is in that building? Why would you do that?
Well, because I don't think Trump realized there was people involved in that group that were going to cause problems and do those things. He wanted you to go simply to protest peacefully.
So he sent a group of people to the White House. Is
anybody going to do an insurrection on their own administration? That's why he's never been charged with insurrection.
But think about what you're saying. He didn't think these folks were going to go and be violent. Nobody's been searched. They're claiming that Black Lives Matter and Antifa's in the crowd. You don't even know who these people are. Why would you send an unknown crowd to the Capitol building expecting to say go peacefully, and groups of people that might not even be on your side are just going to do it? At what point does he get credit for fucking this up?
I would say, but the point is, you're right, absolutely, and I agree with you. That was a mistake that he made. You're right, he fucked up.
Yeah.
But my point of it is, I don't believe that his intention was for them to do what they did. You understand? I truly don't believe that was his intention, because he knew if it did, who's it going to fall back on?
The person that sent them there.
Fall back on Trump.
Yeah, and it should. You don't. No one in this crowd has been searched. You don't know who.
I don't think his intent was to riot. I think his intent was just to do peaceful protest.
But how do you know it's gonna go peaceful when you don't even know who the people are? Is he that dumb? You ain't searched anybody. You've taken no ID from anybody. You don't know who they could be illegal immigrants for all you know. You're just going to send these people to the nation's Capitol building where all of our heads of state is located. Nobody's been verified. This is a colossal fuck up.
Right, but nobody was supposed to enter the Capitol like that, neither.
But why do you think that people are not going to enter the Capitol building when you don't even know who they are? Why do you think they're going to follow your instructions to go in peaceful when you don't even know the people you're talking to?
Well, I guess he assumes he does know his base people, voters. You understand?
But how do you know they're your base? You haven't patted people down. You haven't taken any name. How do you even know? Now they're calling them Antifa. You don't even know who the people are.
I mean, like I said, that was a fuck up. Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah, and it got people killed.
But what I'm saying is, I just don't think his intent was for it to be violent. I just don't think he was thinking that way. And yes, if it did end up being, it was a fuck up. Yes. But it wasn't exactly what everybody blew it up to be.
Well,
I don't believe that.
You can phrase it any way you want, but you put the security of the nation at serious risk. You sent thousands of unknown people to the Capitol building after giving them an inflammatory speech and not even verifying if they were armed or not. Just sent them to the building, said go peacefully, and just hoped on hope that they would all follow your instruction. It almost sounded like he thought he was God.
Well, if that's the case, we could pivot right on to all these other senators on the left side who promoted blow up the White House, get in their face and tell them to get out. You don't deserve to be here. All that hatred that we had, all that Antifa, they set bricks up. Trucks dropped bricks off at locations for the Antifa. It was all a setup.
The fact that
they took over cities.
The fact that you gotta compare it to the
y'all sitting there talking about January 6th because it was Donald Trump.
Because somebody died there that day. Somebody actually got killed.
Nobody died in the riots. Nobody died in all them cities that were burned down and taken over. Man, the cops wouldn't even go in some of them cities in Washington State.
Yeah,
they were being raped.
Beat up. Hold on a second though. Did Obama send the people to burn the city down?
No, but
that matters. This particular riot was orchestrated by the president.
Senators did by what they said.
What are you talking about?
They pushed the narrative about MAGA that they're a cult. Tell them they don't deserve to be here. Look at all the incidents in restaurants. When people were, the right was at restaurants and stuff, people would come in there and say something to them, kick them out of the restaurant. That's ridiculous.
You're comparing folks coming into a restaurant and scaring the shit out of people to January 6th.
I'm saying the message that everyone was sending at that time on the left about Trump voters.
But notice
that was violence.
Yeah, but notice when you talk about Black Lives Matter or people at the left, you're not talking about it coming from the presidential level. You're talking about soldiers way lower. You're not even at Nancy Pelosi's level. You're much lower. We're talking about the president of the United States.
Waters, she said the same thing. She told him, get up in their face.
Maxine Waters is a congresswoman representing a small area in California. We're talking about the president of the United States.
But like I said, I don't believe, and this is my opinion, I don't believe his intent was for violence. I don't believe that. I think you're right about this. Some of the things that he said might have, turned the burner on a little bit, fueled the fire. But at the end of the day, the responsibility of that, of what happened is on the people that were there.
I hear your case, but notice how we talk. Hold on. Notice how we talk about Trump saying go peacefully. We don't bring up all the inflammatory comments by Steve Bannon or Flynn or Giuliani saying, trial by combat. Do we exclude all of the stuff that happened before Trump? Because they didn't say go peacefully. And they talked to the same crowd. Do we exclude that?
No, we don't.
Okay.
But we're talking about Trump. We're not talking about them. But yes, them people are just like Maxine Waters and all of them that ran their mouth. Dave Bannon and all them, they have no business even opening up their mouth.
Well,
you understand? This was supposed to be a peaceful protest. Not everybody who's voting for Trump is violent, a cult, hates everybody in the world. It's not like that. Let me tell you something. There's a matter of fact, on the 2025, the Heritage Foundation, what they wrote about urban camping. You're not just going to take somebody out of the city and put them in a camp. Because for one, I'm voting Trump, but I'm not going to allow that to happen. Because now you're violating the Fourth Amendment right of somebody. You know, it's just something that's written. None of that's in stone.
What about Trump?
People hate anybody.
What about Trump promising to give cops immunity from prosecution? What should the left do with that?
Well, let me say this. Didn't he promise to make Mexico pay the wall?
So he's just making up lies?
No, but sometimes there's a lot of them. A lot of people in Congress.
So I'm going to ask you again. What should the left?
How much did Biden promise? How much did Biden promise?
You're answering. Hold on. You're answering questions with questions. What should the left do about him promising to give cops immunity?
What should the left do?
Yeah. How should they view that?
Well, you know how the left's going to view that.
I'm asking you.
As they probably view it as Trump allowing the law enforcement to pretty much do whatever they want. Do you understand?
Well,
that's not going to happen either. Because what y'all don't understand, he can't give them immunity. Because for one, they can't just come up and punch you in the face and shoot you without having consequences behind that. You understand? We have a constitution in this country, and people are forgetting about that.
Well, let me ask you a question then.
The mouth he wants to run.
Well, then
when it comes down to it,
okay.
We are a constitution.
So you're saying we have a constitution. He can't do that. He can't just give him immunity because you said that you know that. Does he not know that? Then why is he making promises, as you stated, that the Constitution would prevent him from doing? Does he not know what's in the Constitution?
He knows what's in the Constitution.
Then why would he say it?
You know, Trump, come on, man, he stirs up shit. Trump's one person that'll stir up. He'll throw the fuel on the fire to make it iron. That's just Trump.
So the purpose of that comment. So the purpose of that comment was to make people hate him. Then is what you're saying. He was trying to stir up shit.
I think it was more for the left.
Right. He was trying to make people.
Yeah.
So when
it was to get under their skin.
So when you often ask,
it ain't the right thing to do, Handsome. It's not the right thing to do at all.
Right. So anytime you say why they didn't give him a chance from day one or why they always trying to mess with him, keep in mind what you said. He likes to stir up shit and piss off the left. So the left is pissed off.
But y'all gotta, what's his name? What's that black leader's name? Farrakhan. You heard what Farrakhan said about Trump, correct?
Are you talking about a pastor? What did he say? He's a racist.
He said that the problem with y'all is Trump's a monopoly. Trump is his own man. He doesn't follow the beat of anybody. Let me tell you something. Y'all wanted Trump to be dressed in a suit and act presidential, but that's not him. Y'all wanted him to dress in a suit and be dignified, and they're the same people that are robbers and stealers and liars. Y'all wanted him to be like that, but the problem is, Trump is a reflection of all of y'all. That's what he said.
Well, Farrakhan thinks that white people are blue-eyed devils. Are you a big fan of Farrakhan?
I like Farrakhan.
Okay,
Farrakhan knows Trump from back when '86 when Jesse Jackson ran.
Okay.
Who was the only man that backed Jesse Jackson? Trump did.
Yeah.
Farrakhan offered.
Yeah, back when Trump was saying he identifies as a Democrat, Republicans ruin the economy, and that high-capacity magazine should be banned. He was a different guy back then.
Right, he's a different guy today.
Right, so he wouldn't hang around those same folks.
And I don't know about you, Handsome. I'm 55 years old, and I'm more easier and have more patience and more logic today than I did at 25 years old.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know what I mean? So I honestly think a lot is to see where Trump says a lot of things out of his mouth to see the reaction.
But he don't like that. That's a great point. He says a lot of things to get reactions, but he don't like the reaction. He wants to be able to say things that are negative about people without any consequence. He don't want you to say anything back, not vote for him or start attacking him. He wants to just be able to say what he wants to please his base, and the other side just sits around, bends over, and takes it. That's kind of what he wants. It don't work that way.
I'll tell you a secret. Some of us that are voted for Trump don't like some of that rhetoric either. We don't like it either. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't agree with everything. But let me tell you something. I don't agree. I haven't agreed with any president I've ever voted for, not everything. There's been a lot of things. There's things today that I like that the Democrats do, and there's things I like the Republicans.
That's policy,
But see, a certain side, like the left side, there's a certain group of people that's always voted left side. African-American people have always voted. And then when they say, well, the Republicans, they've never done nothing for me. You know why? Because you're not their constituents. You don't vote Republican. You vote Democrat. So why are they giving you anything? Why are they doing anything for you? You don't vote for them. You don't put them in office. So my question is, why are you sitting here saying that the Republican side, they don't do nothing but hurt us. They don't like us. They don't want us around. You don't vote for them.
I'll push back from a number of angles. First of all, blacks believe that the police are mistreating them. The right is like, you're making that shit up, blue lives matter. Blacks are saying, Black Lives Matter. The right is like, Black Lives Matter. I think Trump said Black Lives Matter is a terrorist outfit. The left takes a knee, black people, in basically saying the country's mistreating them. Trump refers to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, get that son of a bitch off the field. And it goes on and on. You put it, let me just give it to you this way. Put 10,000 black folks in an auditorium, town hall style, have them come up collectively on the 5 biggest issues that they believe are concerning the black community. I guarantee you the Republicans are on the other side of all of those issues. Every one of those issues that the black community has an issue with the most, the Republicans are going to be like, that ain't really an issue. This right here, you're taking it out of context. They're on the other side. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
That would happen, but if that group of people were voting for them, they'd have to be accountable.
Yeah, but you don't have to do that when the Democratic Party will sit down with you and not tell you all your issues are bullshit.
Right, and still give you nothing.
They're listening, though. That's the difference. You're telling me...
Listening ain't solving problems. I can listen to your problems all day long. But if I don't do anything to help you, we may not solve them.
So what you're saying is the Democrats listen, but they don't solve them. But the Republicans ain't even listening. You got to go over there and beg them for their attention.
They don't listen because they're not their constituents. They don't never vote Republican. Right. Because most black people look at Republicans, not all, because you can't put everybody in the same basket. But a majority of black people think Republicans are racist. You understand?
Yeah.
They think they're racist. And I don't believe every single Republican is racist.
I don't either.
I do believe there are racist people on both sides. But I just don't believe. I think if they came to them and voted for them and told them, hey, we need this. Trump did some things for African Americans. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Trump is kind of a unique issue on this. Trump is not really a traditional Republican. When you say that the Republicans are not racist and the Democrat, I'll just say this. I don't believe all Republicans or all MAGA are racist, but I will tell you this. If you are a racist that does not like black people or Hispanics, because blacks can be racist, Hispanics can be racist too. But I will say this, if you are a white person that does not favor blacks, you're likely to not vote Democrat. You're likely voting Republican. The white racists support Trump. Now, maybe the black racists may vote liberal, but the white racists are not likely to go and vote for the party that's supporting the LGBT, got a black vice president. They're not voting on that side. If you're a white supremacist, you're not going to be voting for Biden. The vote for me, you ain't black stuff is crazy. Ain't no Klan member go vote for Biden in 2024. That don't make sense.
No, it don't, but you can't sit and blame what president's on the conservative side for them voting.
No, you can't. I agree with that.
Vote for whoever you want.
I agree with that, but
see, as soon as they find out these groups are voting for him, all of a sudden, yeah, see, now I've heard it in these lives 1,000 times. Look at the Proud Boys. Look at the Proud Boys. He loves them Proud Boys. No, he doesn't.
when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm not going to put things in Trump's head, but I will say this. For instance, the white supremacists, the KKK groups, overwhelmingly wear the Confederate flag as a patch. You see the Confederates will show up when somebody's tearing down a Confederate statue. When somebody takes a knee or doesn't stand for the anthem, the right will speak up and bitch about it. But when hang on. But when the Klan or some group gets a permit from the city and they're in town hall speaking hate with the Confederate flag on them, you don't see the Confederate flag supporters, the Pride and Heritage group, they don't protest that at all. They'll protest tearing down the statues, taking the knee, burning the flag. So they are capable of protesting. But if you wear the flag, the Confederate flag, and preach hate, they don't show up to protest at all. Why is that?
That's a good question there, Hansel. I have no question for you for that one.
Well,
for that one.
And that's what leads people to believe it's not just pride and heritage. If you cared about your heritage and your family's ancestry, you should be the first one to show up and condemn anyone wearing that symbol while preaching hate. They don't show up at all.
Familiar with the Black Panthers?
Yeah.
You know, all right, look up David Harrell. He was one of the head dudes of the Black Panthers. Guess who funded the Black Panthers?
Who?
Trump. It came straight out of that man's mouth.
But I just told you, Trump was a different guy 20, 30 years ago.
It doesn't matter. My point
is...
Yeah,
it does.
Receivers don't change their stripes, brother.
You're telling me that Biden, Trump, all these people...
I don't believe Trump's racist.
Okay, maybe he's not. But the idea he's the same guy he was 30, 40 years ago, I don't buy into that. None of us will be.
He's more calmer now than he was back then.
He hangs around a different crowd. He hangs around. You think Oprah would have been cool? Because Trump used to hang around Oprah. Now he's got Kanye West and Nick Fuentes coming to his house. You think Oprah would hang around him now with that kind of stuff? Jesse Jackson would hang around him now with that happening?
Possibility, yeah, because see, they don't look at him that way.
Okay, all right.
You got to understand, they rub elbows. Let me tell you something. They're all friends. That man's gave them millions of dollars. Okay, trust me. Hillary's kids have played with Trump's daughters. I mean, they're all friends. At the end of the day, bro.
The idea that a civil rights leader would hang around somebody who's inviting Nick Fuentes, you really think that could happen? I mean, Jesse Jackson, they're civil rights leaders. How does that look? What, are they going to go and hang out with Nick Fuentes?
When he got an award. You know, he's been around all Al Sharpton, Rosa Parks, all of them. That was back in the day.
Right, and that's why
Nobody was screaming nothing about Trump then, except for he's a good guy. And, you know, rappers had him in their songs because they want to be like Trump.
So
everybody wants...
So when Trump was hanging around Nick Fuentes, you think that Rosa Parks would have been cool with that if she was alive?
Probably not.
Right, he's changed. That's the point I'm making. The group of people he hang around with now is not the same.
You're not going to tell Trump who he can hang out with. You know what I mean? You're just simply not going. You know him. He's a businessman. He's going to do what he wants to do when he wants. No one can change that.
Yeah, and there's no damn way.
Mean that he's going to allow them to influence him on doing things that he knows is simply not right.
How do you think the African American community should view him having Nick Fuentes in his house?
I mean, same way when he crossed over into North Korea. I mean, he only did it. It was his job. He can't be a total jerk to people, man.
So he has to. This is a white supremacist. What are you saying? It would be okay if Joe Biden decided to go and meet with the head of ISIS? What are you saying?
No, but he did do an eulogy or something for Byrd, didn't he? Senator Byrd? And he was KKK.
Yeah, but Senator Byrd, when he died, had made up. He was in with the NAACP. Obama was at his funeral. So was Jesse Jackson. They don't tell you about Senator Byrd. They stop it at he was a member of the KKK. They don't tell you the fact that guy had made up and was well respected at some of the higher levels in the black community. They don't talk about that. Look that stuff up.
So was Trump.
Yeah.
Herschel Walker, 34 years friendship.
Oh, shit.
Come on, I'm just saying. I would think these people would know. These people actually hang out with them. We don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? I honestly think if you took a weekend at the golf course with them, it may change your mind, it may not.
I get your point.
We're only speculating about what we've been told, what we've read.
I think the reason people have an opinion of Trump is not but the media, as some people say, the media is tainting your opinion. It's what he said. You just stated yourself. He says things deliberately to piss people off, and then we act shocked that so many people are pissed off. It ain't got nothing to do with the media. The man is saying inflammatory shit. That's where it's coming from.
But that's the thing, and I'm not trying to go off of Trump because you're right. I agree with you. But you got to understand, too, if we're going to go ahead and do that with Trump, let's be fair. Let's play fair on both sides.
We
do.
We do.
Biden saying the N-word. We already got an N mayor. We don't need no more N, what do you say, powerful people. We don't need no more. And he said the N-word right at the Senate hall, in the Capitol he said it. Back in, what was it, 80-something he said it? Look it up, it's there. He said the word.
Let me respond by
any hesitation.
Yeah, let me respond by saying this. You notice when we talk about things about Trump versus Biden, the stuff on Biden 10, 20, 30 years ago. The stuff on Trump is like yesterday. He said this Wednesday. I mean, everything, vote for me or you ain't black. Senator Byrd died in 2013. The crime bill is 30 years ago. When you're talking about Trump giving police immunity last week.
Did you vote for Biden?
What?
Hanson, did you vote for Biden? 2020?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you're black. If you don't vote for him, you ain't black.
And that's another one. Vote for me. Vote for me. Hold on. Hang on.
Oh, he said I'm sorry.
But wait a minute, though.
I'm sorry.
Yes, he did say I'm sorry. Nobody forgave him for it.
What if I called you the N-word right now, and 20 minutes later I felt bad about it, and I said to Handsome, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't accept it. But let me respond to that.
Thank you.
Let me respond to that. Biden says, vote for me or you ain't black. Folks view it as racist, did not accept his apology. Trump, less than a month ago, stated, if you're Jewish and you vote Democrat, it means you hate Israel, you hate your religion, which is the same damn thing as what Biden said, and nobody criticized him at all. He basically said, vote for me or you ain't Jewish. Came out of his mouth. You can see him on YouTube saying it at a rally. It's the same shit. So how do you view that?
It's on both sides.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, so it's on both sides now.
It's on both sides.
Okay,
brother.
so Trump. So
at the end of the day, Handsome, they don't give a shit about you or me. Either side.
Wait a minute though. So if you see vote for me and you ain't black as racist, vote for me and you ain't Jewish, what do you say?
That's racist.
All right, we got some. I got to move it on. Appreciate it, Robert.
My brother.
Good talk.
But you got to remember though, the reason why we go in Israel because those are supposed to be God's people.
I'm not religious. Talk to you next.
I'm not either, but I'm just telling you what they say.
All right. Freddie to Rumble on YouTube. What he's saying is Republicans don't do the right thing. They do what racist constituents tell them to do. Yikes. I do believe most political candidates do what their constituents tell them to do, but you shouldn't follow ones that are going to, what do I want to say? They're going to, the word is piss off a bunch of people, but I'm trying to come up with a more diplomatic way of saying it. But yeah, doing what you think racist folks do. But at the end of the day, let's be clear. It's hard to note what racist people are, because at the end of the day, racist people don't admit they're racist. You can always come up with a way of saying what you're for and then claiming that it's not racist. I believe we should do this, or I believe there should be a law for this, but I'm not racist. It's because, and people will believe that it's because. Segregation, for instance. I'm not racist. I just believe you should date your type of people. I should date my kind of people. You should live in your neighborhood and be around your people, and I should be around, but I'm not racist, and people believe that. Right now, the LGBT community is dealing with that. I'm not anti-LGBT. I just think it shouldn't be shoved down my throat. I don't think it should be shoved on the kids. But I'm not anti. Basically, the statement is, I'm pro-LGBT as long as they operate and act in a manner that I don't see it. I don't want to see two kids in the park holding hands, or two guys in the park holding hands. I don't want to see two women kissing. I don't want to see any of it. But I'm not anti-LGBT. Just do it in a manner where I can never see it. And folks believe that is anti-LGBT. That doesn't mean they're anti-LGBT. That's exactly what it is. Whoa! Thank you for that TikTok gun, whoever just sent that. Wow. Thank you, Tina. Appreciate that. Looking in, that was Andy, by the way. Speaking of which, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Thank you, Andy, and Rockin' Robin. Wow, thank you, folks.
I actually sent you that. I sent you 2 of them.
Okay, I'm getting old, but thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what do you think? Trump is stating that it could be a breaking point if he is put on house arrest.
He is giving his voters an excuse to act badly. So when they do, he can say, see, I told you they weren't going to put up with me being locked up. It's rash. It's that circular thinking. It's that he gives them an excuse, they act out, then they all act like it's okay because the Democrats did something horrible when all we did was hold him accountable for his shit. That's it.
So you do see it as a dog whistle?
Absolutely.
But so what do you think if he actually is on July 11th he gets sentenced? If he does get jail time or house arrest, do you think that could come to fruition? Do you think people might actually get wild?
I've heard, like, the same chatter I heard before Jan 6, I'm hearing again. Like, some of them are saying that they should attack the state houses. Some of them are saying that, they should attack the Capitol again. Some of them just think they should hurt other people that don't act like them and vote like them. It's ridiculous how easily they give themselves a pass to behave this way. Dude, he wants to act like Trump's not responsible. Trump had Enrique Tarrio at the White House that morning. There's pictures of it. Enrique talking about, I never thought I'd be here. Click, click. That's part of the evidence.
And that's what I was trying to say for folks who say Trump is not guilty of insurrection. I'm not saying he is yet, but I'm saying we need to see what happens at Jack Smith's court case. I mean, let's see what evidence comes out. Now, if you favor Trump, you're not going to accept any damn evidence anyway. You got your mind made up. But I'm in the middle. If I think they're overdoing it, I'll say Trump. Look, Trump didn't. I don't see Trump doing this. But if I see Trump guilty, I'll say that as well. My thing is, let's see what the court case presents before we just make up a decision.
Well, he's also like he's all of this rhetoric. He's been saying this the whole, like they were saying that if they find me guilty, they're going to do this. Like he's been trying to stoke this fire. Unfortunately, his voters don't seem as willing to participate as they did last time. Like nobody wants to go join the Jan 6 choir.
I don't know. Is it now? Hopefully nobody.
I'm not sure they'll stay that way. I think that if Trump were to be removed from the ballot somehow, or if Trump were, sent to jail, God forbid, I think they would act horribly.
Wow. What about house arrest, like you said?
I think house arrest is the best thing, but I don't think Trump or his supporters will accept it. I don't. And even as of right now, Trump can't go to Canada.
Is that true?
There are countries that won't accept a convicted felon.
Wow. That's crazy.
There are several countries that Trump as president cannot go to currently because he is a felon.
Wow. I know when I used to
country's business if he can't go.
Yeah, I know when I used to live in Australia, that was one of their issues is if you got a felony, you can't go
Can't go to Australia. Yeah. Can't go to Canada.
Oh my
I think
God.
the UK is the same way. There's all these places Trump ain't going to be able to go. It's just ridiculous. Not only that, if Trump didn't want to be tried in New York, he wouldn't have committed those crimes in New York. People are like, oh, he got a bad jury. No, that's where he committed the damn crime.
Yeah. I've heard that too. Like, Manhattan is not. What did he say? 95% of the juror members are liberals. Like, yeah. What did you think? You're in New York. If you commit a crime just like if I went down to your area somewhere in Alabama somewhere and I committed a crime and I don't want all these white people on the jury. Well, oh shit, that's kind of where you're at. I mean,
you shouldn't have committed the crime.
Right.
So and on top of that, if Trump even gets probation, how's he gonna leave the state? Like, you got to get permission every time you leave the state to go on probation.
It's a mess.
You can't just go willy-nilly everywhere you want to. That's just a thing. Like, is he going to report to the state of New York every time he needs to leave the country?
Yeah, it's a mess. But I will say this.
If it makes it to the Supreme Court, it has to go through an appellate court, which he gets the first all-black female.
I think that has been shot down as misinformation. Is that those black women, that message, that what is it, a meme or a video going around? They are part of the appellate court, but apparently the appellate court is bigger than that.
Look at the appellate court he's looking at. Then he goes to the New York Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court would have to meddle in states' business.
Yeah.
To give him a pardon, and then what message are they sending by meddling in states' businesses?
Yeah, if that case that Alvin Bragg has won survives the appellate court and the New York State Supreme Court and the federal Supreme Court overturns it, yeah, it would be hard for them to explain why they did that. Other than we're in the camp, yeah, that would be hard to explain.
I don't see Trump getting this scot-free. You know, he can't even pardon himself. Because it's a state case. It's not a federal case. The governor of New York would have to pardon Trump. Do you see the governor of New York doing that?
Not the one that's there now. Definitely not. She's not going to do it at all. So, yeah.
So Donald Trump has got himself in his own conundrum. His followers aren't thinking about what the law already says. They're off in their fantasy world of what they think the law should say or what they want the law to say, but not paying attention to what the law really says.
I think
that's a problem for me.
Yeah, I think
they don't care about the law. They only care about what they want.
Well, I think the libs do that to some degree, but I think in this case, because of the whole illegal immigration thing, the libs aren't exactly concerned with the law either. I mean, you got folks causing a lot of harm to people, and they're not even getting deported. So the libs aren't really.
Well, is that the libs or is that the state police? I mean, I don't see like the higher ups being involved in this. These are all state level. Okay, like on the federal level, I didn't see. Abbott created an international incident at the border.
Let me just say it this way.
By the razor wire.
Let me just say it this way. Currently, the liberals are in control of this country. They could easily pass a federal law that the Republicans would sign in a heartbeat that says if you commit a felony while your residency is being determined, you get kicked out. The liberals are the ones.
On that border bill, then it gives.
I get your point.
Wait. But they could close the border. They could have all this stuff done at the border, but they won't sign it. So don't tell me they'll sign something else. Well, we can't even get them to sign the most comprehensive border package in U.S. history. That's all I'm saying.
But they could try it, Andy. He could have tried, and he didn't have to wait 3 years to the damn election before trying to pass the border bill. I'm not giving Biden a pass on this.
He walked in with a border package ready, and the Republicans said no. So he gave the Republicans everything they wanted this was hashed out over those 3 years. He came in with a plan. Republicans says, we don't like that plan. So he gave them everything they wanted, and then they still refused to sign. I'm sorry, liberal, but if you come in with a plan that they say no to, you give them everything that they want, and they still don't sign it. Who's that on?
Yeah. The border bill of a few months ago, I absolutely agree. They tried to say it was the Ukrainian funds or what. That I agree with you on. But Biden needs to go, if the Republicans are shooting down his goal of holding illegal immigrants that commit a felony accountable, he needs to go on stage and point them out. That's what Trump would do. I just tried to pass it. Hold on. I tried to pass it.
I'll give you that one, Hanson.
Yeah.
Do that.
Biden ain't doing that.
But like I said, they have the most. They impeached Mayorkas for not paying attention to the border for a year. Then they turned around, and then they're not going to pay attention to the border until the election, which is the same amount of time that they impeached Mayorkas for. Please make any of that make sense.
I can't, Andy. I can't. I'll give you the win. I do got to move it on, though, but I can't make any of that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Going back to the comments, Biden is running the country unlike Trump. Ooh. He did in the State of the Union. Well, you got to do it more. Trump, that's one of the benefits of Trump holding constant rallies even while he's president. He's getting his message out. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out, I don't believe every damn thing Trump says that he's doing for America while he was president is true. But if you keep saying the same thing over and over again, people do tend to believe it. Biden should be holding more. By the way, it doesn't have to be Biden. You can have henchmen. Like when Trump's in office, you got Sean Hannity, you got the likes of Rush Limbaugh, you got people where that's what Biden needs, more people. Put Obama out there. You can't get Obama every 6 months, every year to hold one major speech. That's what Biden needs to do. And I think that a lot more liberals that support Biden wouldn't think that he's been a total waste of time. Is that certainly when it comes, like I said, if you come in the country legally, illegally, whatever, and you have committed a felony before you've been granted residency, automatic deportation. Any liberal that disagrees with that is why liberals have problems. Automatic deportation. And I say this because I've been under that rule. When I was living in Australia, seeking residency, which I ultimately obtained, couldn't commit a crime. Can't commit a crime. They'll send your ass out. The idea that folks are getting trials and shit like that, no, you gotta go. You ain't even got residency yet, and your ass is already committing major. No, you gotta go. And these folks are. I don't want to make it sound like millions of illegals are committing crimes. That's some bullshit. That's what Trump is saying. But there are some, and they're actually letting them out on court dates and shit like that. If I'm already in the country hoping to get residency, I know the path to success is difficult. Now I got a felony court date I got to show up with. You think I'm going to come back for that shit? The chances are they are going to kick me out eventually. So why would you release that person essentially on a, what do they call it, a cognizance bond, so they can turn themselves? That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. So I don't want to pretend like Biden is not messing up at the border. I'm not going to say it's 10 million illegals coming in, raping and murdering everybody. That's really bullshit. But the truth is bad enough. I think Trump is telling a lie about what's going on when the truth is actually bad enough. Nevertheless, do appreciate you folks tuning in. You know what time it is. 192,000 likes. I do appreciate that. Almost 200,000 again. So the audience is growing. The program is growing. If you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the hour, without any concern of the host block, banning, or censoring you, you are in the right place. Follow the program to my TikTok viewers. Subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. is when we're here. Monday through Friday, weekdays, 1,300 hours. See you tomorrow. And for my YouTubers, I don't know what's going on with the TikTok side. For my YouTubers, I do want to thank you folks for tuning in as well. I do got to get back out and get back to work. See